Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just a question asker. My name is Raheem, but that's just my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This is Badger. Good morning, Badger. How you doing this morning?
OCO, morning and blessings.
There you go. There you go. Man, how was your weekend?
It was blessed.
Hmm.
Took the kiddos bowling for the second time, and father-in-law came up because it was kiddo's birthday.
Okay. How was the bowling?
I am sore.
It'll do it to you, brother. It will do it to you. Trust and believe me, it really will. It's a good game though. I love it, man. I take my grandkids out there from time to time. We go bowling, man. Put the little safety rails up and let them do what they're gonna do. We got the little assistant thing that you put the ball on it, it rolls down for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man. They have a good time. Let them tell the story. They professional bowlers already, man. They're professional bowlers. That's just how it is, man. But we got a couple of things we're gonna talk about today, man. And my weekend, man, I was got pretty laid back the weekend, man. Sunday I watched football and kind of
sounds
late.
nice.
Yeah, kind of laid around, man. Watch football. My wife, she always cook a big Sunday dinner, man. So sit around, we ate and stuff like that, man. One of my daughters came by, and yeah, we had a pretty good weekend, man. Laid back. It was laid back.
Nice.
Yeah, it was laid back, man. I didn't do a whole lot of nothing because I didn't want to do a whole lot of nothing. I just wanted to chill out, man. Let me back up. We did go to a little kid place Saturday. 'Cause we had our grandkids for the weekend, and we took them to this little place called Busy Bee or Bumbling Bee or whatever it's called, man. And there was kids all over the place and adults too, but mainly it's for kids. But man, they got in that place, man, bouncing on the trampolines and running all over the things, the slides, and they had all kind of stuff going on in that one little place, man. And it was something to see. It wore them out. They came home, man, and I'm not sleeping on the way home. My grandson, man, he almost fell out on the way home. Man. That little
Sounds
joker,
about right.
he almost fell out on the way home, man. My granddaughter, man, she was fighting it. She got home. They told me, I ain't ready to go to bed. I said, okay, okay, that's fine. You ain't got to go to bed. Just go on, take your bath, and just get ready for bed when it's time to go to bed. Man, they took that bath, get out that tub, man, and went into the rooms, man.
Yeah.
People around the corner. 5 minutes later, Badger knocked out.
That's a good day.
Knocked out, man. Yeah, they really enjoy themselves, man. I enjoyed being there. Had to keep up with them, but I enjoyed it. Badger, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, and the phone lines are open because I want other people to respond on this as well. Phone lines open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Badger, what is the purpose? Not what they do, how they do it, and all that stuff. What is the purpose of the prison system?
Mm, mm.
Come on, Badger.
Well, at least from my understanding of it, you know, I guess when I was a kid, I was always under the impression that jail is where all the bad people go.
Hmm. Okay.
Now that I'm grown, come to learn that jail is the place that our government gets free labor.
Hmm.
Jail is the place where a handful of innocent people are, and the rest of them are guilty of anything from minor to major crimes that they have committed.
Is it is it a good system or is it a corrupt system?
Oh, well, you know how I am about perspectives.
Hmm. Light her up, light her up.
It's, I suppose it depends on the if the people that go in there actually helps them to get better, or it keeps a really bad person
Is it
from
set up?
coming back into public.
Is it set up to help them get better?
I've heard stories here and there that it has, and we've heard some personal testimonies on here from different people
Mm-hmm.
saying how it helped them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the potential is there. But once again, I have no doubt that not only is it an individual basis, but it's also where you're at.
How is it that one person could go in and become rehabilitated, if you will, called a rehabilitation center? Why is this? It used to be called rehabilitation center. I don't know what they call it now. They just probably just call it prison now. But why is it that one person could go in and become rehabilitated, get the things that they need, education and all the things, college degrees that they need, and 10 others in the same group would not?
Ooh, you know, let's just crack it open a little bit. Ain't that the same kind of principle of 10 people that walk in the church and one chooses to walk the right path and the other ones don't?
Okay. Now, if we want to go down that alley, we could, but right now, just keeping the conversation
I
where we
don't view either one different. It's that is a scenario right there that goes across the board. You
see
can do it with politicians, schools, the whole 9 yards.
okay, because the direction you was going in, I'm certainly not going to equate the prison system and church to put them. I'm not gonna put them in the same ball of wax. I can't do that. I can't do that because I know that I know what the church quote unquote represents and what it does and what it has the potential to do. And you can say the same thing about the prison system, but you can't take one and you can't take a prison system of that and a church and put them in the same ball of wax and say it's the same thing. It's not.
Okay, no. Let me be clear. I'm talking about the 1 out of 10 scenario.
Okay. Okay.
That specifically, the 1 out of 10 scenario
Mhm.
that you're asking about, I view that as a across the board thing
Okay.
of schools, churches, temples, church, like the whole 9 yards.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that is not a simple answer in no way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
Because that is so individualized.
Okay.
Because out of that 1 out of 10, you're also going to have those that are going to be like 50-50 that are might end up becoming one of the better people, but it's going to take them longer than that one person did.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
So that is a very individual to individual question
Mhm.
to me.
Do you think it was set up initially? Do you think it was set up to make people to rehabilitate, as it was called during that time?
Mm, I'm
The,
torn on that one because I've
the initial
been
foundation of it.
that I'm torn. I know there is the imprisonment of those that have committed crimes, and I have heard the word imprisonment for slaves.
Mhm.
So historically, I am not sure anymore because I would say it's two or three different things from what I've been finding,
Mhm.
and it's hard for me to figure out which one was the first because
Okay.
I think they were all about the same time.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
I guess it depends on what society was implementing it.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Let me go to Ryan. Ryan, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Ryan, asking a question. What do you think the purpose, the original purpose of the rehabilitation, as they called it during that time, prison today? What was the purpose of the rehabilitation center as it was created, and did it serve its purpose?
Hmm. Nah. I would say it hasn't served its purpose because you still got people going in and coming out and going right back in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the rehabilitation part is not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that's a fact. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what anybody say.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as was it created for rehabilitation, I don't think so. Uh, I don't hear of very many stories of medieval times and previous where somebody would get locked up for something and get given a sentence, because it was usually, here, let me take your hands off, or
Mm-hmm.
cut out your tongue, or if they put you in a cage, you just was waiting to get your head chopped off or hung or something like that. Um, but of course, that's only as far as written history goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In today's time, is anybody, quote unquote, do you think anybody, and this is a wide brush I'm painting with right now, and I know it is, but what is the likelihood? Let me ask let me rephrase the question. What is the likelihood of a person being rehabilitated by going to prison?
I guess it depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, today's climate is vastly different in a lot of ways, and things have changed inside the prison system now, as far as um, the amount of segregation. You got white folks running around with gang colors and hanging out interracially now, which is something that we haven't seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a big melting pot in there. Of course, you've got your extremist groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
But um, the likelihood, I really don't know how to respond to that, because it's a per person basis. If
Mm-hmm.
someone messes up and they know they want to get out and they know they don't want to go back to that life, yeah, I think that that person can be rehabilitated. But then it also depends on the help and assistance and love and care that they get after they're released, because they can easily jump back into that lifestyle, especially if that's all they know.
Mm-hmm. So from where you're sitting, you don't think that the prison system today, quote unquote, rehabilitation center, is serving its purpose?
I think I'm probably going to catch some flack for this, but I think it's better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving further in the right direction with the if you want to call them amenities that they're offering to inmates, as far as education and things like that. It's more robust
Mm-hmm.
than it used to be. You can get trade skills, you can get degrees, you can get all of that stuff, so that if you make that life choice, you can come out and be a productive member of society like it's supposed to be. But that doesn't make it any easier while you're in there.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I can't complain, man. Just happy to see another beautiful day. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Rico, we're talking about the quote unquote rehabilitation center, prison. What was it created for, and is it serving its purpose for the very reason why it was created?
Well, it was actually, to me, was created as a place for punishment as a consequence for those that violated the policies or conditions of society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those punishments came under the level of the severity of the punishment. So, you know, you might have a light sentence or you might have a heavy sentence. You know what I'm saying? You might have a light punishment or a heavy punishment. But, you know, it was to actually hold accountable for the violations that you committed in society, you know, and honestly, you know, it was to teach you a lesson, depending on the severity of that offense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it or has it served its purpose?
To me, it has served its purpose, depending on the person or the people in power, what they wanted the purpose to be. You know, it serves more than one purpose, because now it's privatized.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So now it serves the purpose of making money. It's an investment, you know what I'm saying? It's more than a system and an institution now, but it's a business. And that's what makes it so corrupt, because for a business to work, you have to have product.
So basically what I'm hearing you say, Rico, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, people are betting on the fact that people are going to have their freedom taken away. They're betting on that.
Betting on it and creating conditions of where you are pretty much guaranteed to end up coming in this situation.
Wow.
Like right now, they made it to where you can actually label a team a gang, put him on a gang list, and from that point forward, everything that they do after the age of 16, they can be charged as an adult. And they put all these stipulations on it that can make you be associated with a gang, whether or not you're really in the gang or not. You know, some people might just claim they're in the gang because it's cool. You know, there's so many different reasons why people would do something negative or embrace something negative. But now, if you're young and immature and don't know any better and foolish, you could still end up getting a grown man sentence.
Wow. That's good. Zamari, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
I'm here, at least for now.
Well, good to have you, sis. Good to have you. We're talking about the rehabilitation center. We're talking about the prison, if you will. What was the purpose what was it created for? What was the purpose of it being created, and has it fulfilled its purpose in today's times?
Well, I believe it was originally it was created for exactly what you said. It was to rehabilitate convicts, inmates, so that they could be functional individuals in society and, put forth their best in society, be not included. I'm sorry. What is the word I'm looking for? To just do for society, right? Be a part of it, work, go into the workforce, do whatever you need to do. The word has actually left my brain right now, but yeah, just to do that. Has it fulfilled that purpose? I do not. I think for some, yes. For some, not for all. The original purpose that it was created for, I think it has massively overall failed. But there are some who definitely do come out from their experience and they become something and do something with their lives from there. So yes, I think on one end, it definitely has helped some, but I feel like the majority, or it's helped a minority versus the majority.
I asked a question earlier. I think I asked Badger this question. How is it that you could have, say if you get 10 people that go in on the same day, why is it you can have one or two of them that are quote unquote rehabilitated, take full advantage of the situation that they have, get their high school diploma, maybe college degrees and things of that nature, and the other 8 is a revolving door? They're never rehabilitated. Why? How is that possible?
Well, let me turn my camera on, but don't judge me. I've got serious bedhead right now. So
I got you.
But here, so you can see me. Okay. So why is it that the other 8 have not been rehabilitated?
Yes.
You can go back and look, okay, were all 10 of these individuals, were their family dynamics the same? What differences were there in their experiences growing up? What trauma do they have? What is it that these 2 individuals had that led them on a different path that these other 8 did not have? It could be maybe that was the first time that those 2 prisoners had been in jail for the first time. And maybe that was their learning experience. Maybe this is the 5th time that these other 8 had been in there. And it wasn't no better on the outside than on the inside. And at least on the inside, they've got a bed and a free meal. Wow. I don't know. I really don't know.
And you said a lot there. Maybe because they have a bed and a free meal, don't have the means to survive on the outside. I mean, that could very well play a part in it. But there's a lot of elements that's going in, and hopefully we're gonna pull reveal some of those layers as we go through this conversation. We're not gonna stay on this the whole time. This is not our topic of the day, but I think it's something that we really needed to talk about. and educate some of the people on that's listening. Phone lines are open 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We definitely love to hear from you. Stanley, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? No, that might be Toy You with a T. Toy You with a T, that's you? Who is 47?
47.
Yes, 47. That's Toy You with a T. Okay, y'all got the same prefix. Toy You with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Sis, we're talking about the rehabilitation center. We're talking about the rehabilitation center and what was the purpose for which it was created, and has it fulfilled its purpose? What do you say to that?
You said a rehabilitation center.
Well, today they call it prison. But initially
Oh.
it's supposed to have been a rehabilitation center is what the fancy title that they gave it.
Yeah, no. Prison ain't no rehab. What? That's prison.
Mm-hmm.
What? You behind bars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one more time. You said the question was what now? What about the prison?
What was the initial purpose? Why was the rehabilitation, quote unquote, prison? Why was it created, and has it served its purpose?
Well, I think initially, I don't think prison was created to be a rehab, right? It was created to lock up criminals
Mm-hmm.
for very long, extensive, long lengths of time. We humans are fickle. I think that when we try to grow away from inhumanity, we try to implement things to correct the flaws of humans. And I think when they began to put or influence, college in prisons, it was for rehabilitative purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also before they decided to make the prison system profitable. It was actually an institution to just house you and hopefully provide you with the education that they believe help. When you're undereducated, they believe that helps create criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So when they tried to put criminals in prison, and when it wasn't about making money, they tried to implement those things to make it better. So we don't do that no more because we feed off of the crime. We profit off of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not meant to be rehabilitative no more. That's not our focus. It's not our interest. That's just like with our schools. We know based off of third grade scores who could potentially become the criminals and who are not. They know that music and sports and other specific activities help groom children from, being at risk. But they take those things away.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because the system is now starting to manipulate from profits. So I think that one of the reasons why prisons do not work anymore, they're not rehabilitative anymore, is because we've changed to a more profitable greed system. It's not about correcting the problem. It's about making money. Then I think also there's a flip side to it. Again, they're doing something to us, right? There's chemicals and things we put in our hair and things we put in the food that come out of the air. Again, all geared to have us act certain ways. My opinion, my personal opinion. And some of this actually, if you look it up, you'll see it. But I think there are forces to drive us to influence that behavior. So that way, again, it's profitable, right? If you keep them poor, they're going to want to make different decisions that they wouldn't make if you pay them the right money. If they didn't struggle, they'd be doing different things. So we're going to take some things away. I think all of that works hand in hand. I think it works for greed. I think when it comes to me, the individual actually having a fighting chance, there are too many multiple variables that can get me sidetracked to become rehabilitated. So I think, out of 10 people, for 2 of them to even make it, they've had to swim through so much quicksand. They had to defeat so many odds to become those 2 people and rehabilitate themselves. It's not about the actual system or institution, because the system and institution is not about rehabilitation no more. It's about profit.
So they have to have the 2 that survive have to have a certain motivation and drive within themselves to want to survive.
Well, it's not about survival. It's about wanting a different life, right? Because you don't have to survive. You don't have to have a degree to survive. We all walk around here surviving without degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to see or want a different type of life than like me with these master's degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
I worked a long time without them, but it was something different that I wanted. I wanted more. I wanted to prove more to the world inside of this system. And now that I've completed the coursework, this system, the American educational system, says that I have a master's level understanding of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was because I wanted more. I wanted more in life, not
Mm-hmm.
just to survive. So I think this is a higher level of not only rehabilitation, but not even survival. It's like just creating the illusion of having a better lifestyle with, instituted education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. There's a lot going on with this particular topic right here. Let me go to our brother Pete. Brother Pete, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
How you doing this morning, sir? DKM Radio Morning Glow, Facebook panel, family, the world. You are tuning in to DKM Radio, the Morning Glow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pete, we're talking about rehabilitation center, quote unquote, prison system. What was it initially? What was it created for? And has it served its purpose for which it was created? What do you say to that?
I believe it was created with a duality purpose. Those that are empowered to punish their challenges and dissenters, those that don't agree with their process and procedures, they would throw them in prison. And those that commit crimes. Now, in modern day times, we have, it's a complicated situation because we do have criminals, and if we are a society that's governed by laws, we have to abide by the law in order for the society to function comfortably, right, cohesively, some form of structure. But anytime we can point to one person that's been innocently convicted, we have a problem. If we can point to more than one person that's been innocently convicted, we have a tragedy on our hands, a travesty, and a grave injustice, and we're putting the whole structure in danger. Now, when we talk about the rehabilitation process, we can look at other countries. I want to say Denmark or Sweden. They have a concept with their prisoners where they live in, they're grouped up, it's group housing, but they're able to have access to a kitchen where they can just go and make food on their own. They have more of an everyday living application in prison that's continuing to keep them aware and used to living outside of this group structure and how society normally functions, and then making available training and conditioning, equipping of skills and knowledge for when they get back out to better be able to integrate back into the normal functioning of society. So they have a mindset to rehabilitate untoward behavior or lacking in knowledge or lacking in skill. So when you are back out in normal society, you're better able to perform, take on individual responsibility, and contribute to the greater function, truthfully, righteously of that society. When we look at the structure of our rehabilitation centers, as you would say, correctional institutions, where's the application to correct untoward behavior? Where's the training to socially engineer and condition you and acclimate you back into society with knowledge, skills, and ability to perform in personal responsibility and also be a contributor to the greater function of the society? We don't have a overall majority structured correctional system that functions like that. We have a warehouse.
Wow.
They warehouse individuals. They hold you. They allow for all manner of chaos to go on. The murder rate in the penitentiary is astounding and disturbing when you see the amount of people that are actually killed in the penitentiary. The amount of physical harm that's done, the beatings and the stabbings and cruel, life-threatening behavior and experiences are normal every day situations in our penitentiaries. It's disturbing.
Wow.
Right? When you have individuals that can be put in solitary confinement for months and years at a time, it's cruel and unusual punishment. You know, the lacking of nutritional food, adequate food, you know, adequate resources, just reading, basic things. I mean, how are we trying to rehabilitate? We're not. We're just trying to warehouse and facilitate private corporations for profit. Is the greater focus. How can we keep this money when we have states that would approve a process of housing the numbers of people we're going to put in these situations and keep and how regard to the justice system, the real application of why we're putting you here in the first place. If I'm saying to you, Raheem, as a private corporation owner who holds one of the ownerships of these facilities, hey, you can have a phone program, and that's $3, $4, $5 a minute. You can have the commissary set up where you supply all the stuff that they use, toothpaste, deodorant, you know, little food, snacks and stuff, toilet paper, toothpaste, whatever, deodorant, right? Shaving cream, razors. You can control that too, and you can charge for that, and it's astronomical, right? Then you have to have a certain number of people in that facility and maintain it at all times. And as the corporate state, I'm going to ensure that you do that because we signed a contract. Now, am I locking up criminals? Am I enforcing the law and strictly putting people in here that are violating the law? Or am I actually abridging that a little bit to make sure these numbers stay there? Because if they don't, I got to pay you. Right? So then what are we doing? Are we actually locking up people who are criminals? I mean, this is a serious situation that we're experiencing here in America because, again, when the enforcers of the law violate the law in their enforcement of the law, what form of law is in practice? And then you say you locking up criminals, but you violating the law yourself. Are you not a criminal?
Good deal. Good deal. Let me hold on right there, brother. Don't you go nowhere. Let me go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Rico? Rico can't find he can't find that mute button. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, like Brother P said, and Toya said, these corporations, right? It wasn't always like that. And then they started getting, so I think it was Smith Barney, MasterCard. They own prisons. They keep building more. And daily life tools that these guys need to just keep their hygiene in there. They paying an arm and a leg for it. And, you know, that's stuff that I saw firsthand while I was working in there. And it's like you're being punished again while you're being in there and having to have your family and friends throw you money just so you can have extra little things. And I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm deferring to Pete because he mentioned Norway and Denmark, and if I'm not mistaken, one of those countries, they actually have an island for the criminals that commit the most heinous crimes. And that island is housing. It has, you know, kind of like halfway houses and stuff like that. And those prisoners are banished from the general population to that island. And again, I don't know if it's still this way, but I remember reading about this when I was going to school. And each one of those prisoners is provided a rifle, a hunting rifle. And they can go hunt, cook their meals, do all of those things. But if they were to use that weapon in the wrong way, it's execution. And when they leave, they take it with them because they've learned a trade now. They know how to hunt and survive for themselves. So they've accomplished their time in and are considered productive members. And again, I don't know if that's still the way it works, but then you think about Australia, New Zealand, those were entire prison colonies. So if you screwed up on the mainland, you got sent to New Zealand. That was how it was in the old days. And you had to live out the rest of your life on that island away from everybody you love, but you could still be a human being.
Wow.
They actually did a movie about that, had Ray Liotta in it. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah.
That's good. That's good. Rico, you back with us?
Yeah.
Okay, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, man, I'm just listening, man. I mean, this would be a great conversation for somebody that's been locked up in the system. You know, it's good, right? I can speak from the outside as far as from the inside of the correctional officer. You know, but it goes down to what people's talking about. It ain't really a whole lot to repeat, man. It's a profit system in place. You know, and it also depends it depends on who's in control of that system or that institution. You know, because it definitely is a business now. I'm glad Toya came in and said that too about it being a business. It's privatized. And so if you really think about it, it's not too much different than what it started being intended for after slavery. What people have to realize, I say this all the time, man, you know, before anybody even asked me a question, I went and started looking at the population of prison systems. And I went and asked this, looked up this question myself, but when was the first prison system began, the first penal colony in America? And, you know, they talked about how it got started and, how they actually used to do the punishments. At first, it started out as them making people stand guard over the colonies overnight, doing jobs that other people didn't want to do. That was their punishment. That was before they actually started the prison system. There were people in the colonies. Then they just, as crime in society got bigger and crime got bigger, they had to come up with prison systems. And these prison systems used to be majority white men. Might have had 2% or 3% black people. But guess what? The system of capitalism started crumbling a little bit when somebody became humane and said, let's stop this slavery thing. And little by little, you start seeing us creep up in the numbers. You make you ask yourself, well, what's the correlation between that? Free labor. Remember what he said on Life? At least the state of Mississippi got 35 years of free labor. Oh, sounds similar to slavery, don't it? So now you got the duality. I'm gonna say the true it's 3 or 4 different ways. Not only are they getting free labor, but then they manipulating and taking advantage of people that want to stay in touch with their human loved ones that are incarcerated, and some of them wrongfully. Some of them in there because the evidence been withheld, or some of them in there because you got sheriffs like DEA agents like that guy in Texas that had locked up 1/3 of the black people in his city and was giving out 90-year sentences for crack, and they had to let all these people out. I think it was like 46 people. He was railroading, and it wasn't just him. He had prosecutors and judges all involved too. That's why they was giving them 90 years for small, petty dope charges. Because there's so many ways that it's profitable. Then you're taking men off the street, and you're taking men out of their families, and you ask the question, about the 8 out of 10 people. And it goes back to people are products of their environment. And if you grow up in a dysfunctional environment and you have to learn to survive in a dysfunctional way, and you never have been taught a proper way to cope, you never been taught a proper way to reason or have conflict resolution skills because the environment you were in, it didn't allow you to be taught the correct way to do it, or a functional way. Everything you did, you had to learn and had to get it out of chaos. Now you go into this institution, and it's even more chaotic, and you got to learn to survive in it. Now, few people come from a good situation where they knew better, but they made bad choices. Maybe they were naive, made bad influences, or maybe they are wrongfully convicted. They can concentrate and focus. They know how to distract themselves. They say, well, you know what? I know how to get out of this situation. But somebody that never had been taught how to get out of how to cope or how to get out of certain situations, how to deal with certain situations from the very beginning, they had to get it out the mud, because, a lot of these rappers and people in our community, they like to say that now. I got it out the mud, man. Can you imagine getting something out of mud?
Mm-hmm.
How filthy and dirty and grimy, how messed up could it have been for you to get something out the mud and clean it up and make it worth something? You know what I'm saying? So they getting it out the mud, and then they going into a situation that's even muddier,
Mm-hmm.
and they trying to find a way to cope and get into a regular lifestyle that they never knew how to get to it, or that it existed in the first place. See, it's different when you already had a little bit in you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to make that criminal. It's easy to actually guide that person down that path to where they could be somebody you could put in one of them bids and make your money off of, starting in the early age of school, when you see that the parents are leaving them vulnerable and they're irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
It starts from that with the neglect. Just let them slip through the cracks. Let them slip through the cracks. Yeah, we see they struggling. We see that they coming to school stinking. We see they come to school wearing the same clothes every day. We see the bruises on them. But let's not create a system that can save these children. Let's make it hard to save them and pull them out of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
And that's how you create the criminal. You put them in poverty, leave them in situations where they have to learn to adapt and survive. And then when they get in a more chaotic situation where they got to learn to survive, they're going to adapt the same way they did in the streets. It's going to be in the most dysfunctional way, because they don't even know a proper way to start from the very beginning. They've never seen a standard.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
They don't understand, the proper way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to learn the best way they can just to eat and survive in the concrete jungle.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good.
I had some
That's true.
friends that went to the feds.
Mm-hmm.
They said the feds wasn't nothing but a school for them. They went there for dope charges and met people that had more dope than the people they had before they went to jail, so they came out with bigger plugs.
Wow.
I think it's a guy named Rayful Edmonds in Baltimore, Maryland. He sold more drugs and got better connects with Griselda Blanco while he was in the feds than when he was out. He sold a lot of drugs when he was out. I think they say he sold quadruple the amount while he was locked up, and he still ain't got out.
Mm. Wow. Wow. And that's one of the loopholes. That's one of the things right there, man, with this penal system that we're talking about right now, man. There's a lot of like I said, people that know that I worked in the prison I worked in the prison system for 10 years, man. So I know there's a lot of things that go on in there, man. I've seen some things in there, and I promise you, of the things I seen in there while I was working there was 100 things that I did not see right up under my nose. It happens every day. It happens every day. And some people say that they good officer, bad officer, whatever the case. I wasn't the one to try to put my foot on nobody's neck. I'm never gonna do that, man. I always been a positive, try to be a positive person in every situation. That's why when I see people that was in there and I see them on the street, they come up, they shake my hand, give me a hug or something like that, man. Because I treated them like they was somebody. Always treated them like they was somebody. Badger, you said you had something, brother.
So I was looking up, like, difference between jails of olden days and prisons, and I think 1795 the first prison was ever made,
Mm-hmm.
and looked up how they worked their system, if there was any life sentences and different things like that, and there really wasn't any life sentences. It was pretty much a place where people, they didn't obey the laws, that get sent in there, and they did labor camps, to put it simply,
Mm-hmm.
in hopes of rehabilitation.
Mm.
Now, in today's society, I think, depending on the state and the jail, because from what I was looking up, each jail has it. The rates are different depending on where the prisons are. Those that have implemented cognitive behavioral therapy and things of that nature, that's also offering college or the blue collar job stuff,
Mm-hmm.
has I think it was like a 20 to 40% increase of rehabilitation, while the other ones are still, I think, it's only like 20 something percent average of people actually being rehabilitated.
Mm-hmm.
And there, of course, there's a percentage that are in there for life. And then the rest of it is those that get out come right back.
Yeah, revolving door.
Revolving door.
Yeah. Wow.
So it seems like the more mental health access that is given, it is making differences. It's increasing people's chances of coming out and bettering themselves.
Wow.
It's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So to me, it's once again, kind of touching on what some other people are touching on, is we are products of our environment. Depending on where we are in those environments and we end up in jail, it's not only us as individuals to be able to grow and learn and things like that, but we also have to remember those that don't learn as others do. The ones that get trapped, the ones that have that trauma brain, and things of that nature, or that addiction. Addiction isn't easy for everyone just to overcome. Some need help. Others can do it all by themselves. Once again, everything is individual based to a degree, but it also takes the community to recognize when to help those individuals.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Zamar, what's on your heart, sis?
I was just thinking back to your original question, which was, the what was it, the 8 out of, or the 8 out of 10 that are not rehabilitated, right? So if you think about it, do you remember the Scared Straight program?
Yes.
So Scared Straight for teens or troubled kids, that's exactly what that was for, right? It was to scare them away from those bad behaviors, from those destructive behaviors that could land them into someplace a lot worse if they didn't straighten up.
Absolutely.
But if you ever watch that show, there's only a small percentage even out of those kids that fixed, that straightened up. The rest of them went on to continue with the same pattern of behavior, which landed them in juvie, which later landed them in a prison system somewhere, because they didn't learn anything from it, because they thought it was a joke the whole time. And it's really sad, because those kids that had the opportunity to go through a program like that, whose parents cared enough to put them in a program like that because they wanted to see them go the right way, they're going to do that the rest of their lives, in and out, in and out, in and out, because either there's something wrong up here with them that no one is diagnosing. And I don't know how the prison system works overall. I don't even know if they do anything like that for diagnosis or not. But that might help them too, if they can get on meds. If they don't offer it, I don't know what they offer. I've never been to prison, thank God. But I just, it blows my mind, because I can tell you, for me personally, if my mom had ever put me in a Scared Straight program, oh yeah, I would have been shaking. And I promise you, I would have never even said nothing. No bad words would have come out of my mouth, nothing. Like, it would have worked for me, right? But there are some kids who, when they go through those programs, like I said, they really think it's just fun and games and it's a joke, and I don't care what you say, screw authority. And they go about to continue those behaviors in spite of having that stepping block to try to, kind of have them take a step back away from that. So what can you do? I guess my question is, like, what can you do for kids like that, whose parents truly care enough to put them in a program like that, but it's not working? What do you do from there to still make sure that they steer clear of that stuff? Or maybe even it is a troubled kid, but you know what? There are some of those troubled kids that went through that program and they came out just fine too. So I don't know.
It's a lot, and that's a very good question. What do you do? Because I'm gonna tell y'all something. And I'm gonna go to Tucson, because Tucson is with it as well, and Toya after that. I grew up, and I told y'all many times, I grew up in the projects, and I know that there are some kids in the projects that I grew up in would look at a program like that. Shares great. Would look at a program like that as a field trip.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they would see it as, because of some of the conditions that they lived in or that they were subjected to in their everyday life. Man, this is like a field trip. It's a field. That's what it is, and it's sad. It's very sad to say that, but the reality is, a lot of them looked at it just like as a field trip. Oh, we're gonna get on this bus. We're gonna go down here. We're gonna go to the prison. We're gonna see what they do inside there. Just like just like going to the aquarium or something. You know, it's a field trip, and that's what it was. And I don't think they took it seriously until they found themselves actually in that environment and have to deal with that environment. Then and that's when the reality really sets in. Um, wow, it's a lot. Toussaint, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Good morning.
We're talking about the rehabilitation, quote unquote, penal system, correction facility, all the different names, prison, all the different names that it has. And I'm asking a question: why was it created? What is the purpose of it? Why it was created? And is it fulfilling in today's time, Toussaint? Is it fulfilling its purpose?
Well, I believe it's fulfilling its purpose, but what we think that the purpose was the intentions of the purpose. How can I say it? It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think it's going to rehabilitate a person, you got the wrong idea. It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like sharecropping
Mm-hmm.
and another
Wow.
form of slavery that
Mm-hmm.
keeps slavery going. Free labor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. That's just me. I might not be
Yeah.
too
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
but the system that allows people to be overworked and underpaid still exists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not. You don't rehabilitate in facilities. You rehabilitate when you get out. When you
Mm-hmm.
get home, when it's all over and said and done, you get. It's a personal thing. You can go to rehab, AA, and anything else you want. And unless you have a different mindset, when you get out, you'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revolving door that we know well. And who owns the land? That's
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And how much did they get paid to put a prison system up on their property? You got people from the prosecutor to the defense attorney to the judge that is part of each trial day by day. They sit down and eat breakfast and talk about it. Have private meetings in the chambers and talk about how this thing gonna thin out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really about the person. The person is just being worked through the system.
Yeah.
Does welfare get a person from depending on welfare, or is it a leg up? Does it give you a leg up, or does it tie you in?
That's good. That's
You
good.
get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The food stamp or whatever else, I don't know, EBD card or whatever it is, it's a draw for
Mm-hmm.
people to depend on somebody else rather than them getting a little boost and moving on to depending on themselves. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about rehabilitation, and I keep saying that, man. I don't know why I keep saying that, but that's just me. That's just the way I think, because these even the people that's in jail, been incarcerated for a while. I get the feeling that they become repeated offenders because they don't have to go home and pay no bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about medical and dental and health care and none of that. I mean, they designed the kid. I'll be back, man. You back? Sure, I'm back.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't I be? You know,
Mhm.
tax-free money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the people, when you really go down behind the scenes and you trace that money, you wind up finding millionaires.
Yep. Yep.
How you get to be a millionaire in the prison system
Mm.
on the other on the hidden end of it.
Yeah.
See, there's a hidden end. So when you say what the intent from the beginning, you know, go get them, bring them back,
Mhm.
bring them back where? Into slavery, into bondage, and to be captured, so that the free man won't be free again. They put him back to work, miles and miles of field that they work from sun up to sundown to take care of a family. Oh, I can't say that.
Mhm.
That I wish Cassandra was here. She'll tell you.
Hopefully she'll be here in just a few minutes. Let me go to Toya with a T. Toya with a T. What's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, I'm in and out here. Bring me up to speed.
Still talking about the same thing, or whether it's rehabilitate, whether it's actual rehabilitation, or is it like everybody's saying right now, just a money pocket? It's a money pocket.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a money pocket right now. Yep. Again, you know, when it comes to rehabilitation, there's something inside of you that wants to be rehabilitated. I think right now we understand that the average person isn't thinking about that, and we're capitalizing off of it. So again, even when it comes to rehabilitation, you're not going to do anything that you don't want to do. So if you don't want to be rehabilitated, if you don't want that level of rehabilitation, if you like what you have going on, then you may potentially find yourself, you know, returning to that place because you like what's going on. You
Mm-hmm.
like that part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's a very large perspective that has to deal with the you.
Yeah.
Is that where you want to be? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to turn that around? And oftentimes we don't. We don't want to do the work. We want the praises, but we don't want to do the work. We want the accolades and degrees, but we don't want to do the work. We want the position, title, and pay, but we don't want to do the work. We want to try to manipulate and then turn that same manipulative system around on someone else, right? Because it's so, no, oh, what the system, oh no, they get no more on me. So let me learn what I need to learn and get up out of here so this doesn't happen again. Then you turn around someplace else, go get that great job with that business degree, and manipulate the next people out of their time, manipulate the next people out of money, manipulate corporate businesses out of money, and you may find yourself right back in there again, just on a federal level, because the problem wasn't the rehabilitation, the problem was you.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You're just a thief.
Come on.
You're just a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a criminal. You like being a criminal. You want to be a criminal. You go, you get dressed up, you come out of glorified, locked up, one-time criminal.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, again, it depends on what do you want out of life? Because if, you know, you come from an environment where they breed criminals, Al Capone, they breed criminals sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're going to do it this way. Oh, we're going to do it this way. We're not going to follow the law. We're going to do our own thing here. I mean, you're breeding criminals who are going to be bound for jail. And I don't think, you know, the John Gotti family stopped being criminals until what, the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Late
There was
80s
like
too.
organized crime and knew it was a way of life. It wasn't about rehabilitation. And when you sent those guys and their sons and their goons, they knew they were going to have return trips back to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that because of the life that they lived, the life that they chose. So again, I think it's very important that we reel certain things back in and put the responsibility back where it lies, right? If you are in prison or if you are in a situation, it's more than likely at some point the choices and decisions that you made and everything else around you operating off of everybody else's expensive is to take you out, you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do. Are you gonna roll with them, or are you gonna fold with them?
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's good. Badger, talk to me, brother.
I mean, I'm in agreement with what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
We're all pretty much hitting on. It's going to depend on if the individual person is wanting to really change.
Mm-hmm.
There are some. They're going to find some luck depending on which prison they go to. Maybe perhaps more than others.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to depend on the support when they get home, as well as their mental
Stability.
choices.
Yeah.
Stability, mental choices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just looking at the factors of the entire situation. Is this an individual that is capable of having that willpower to make that individual choice? Is this a person that truly deals with a mental struggle?
Mm-hmm.
And is this a person that knows exactly what they're doing and they just don't care?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. Rico, this whole system that we're talking about, can it work? Does it have the potential to work?
It can work if everybody fought for the legitimate definition of what it's supposed to be. I mean, if people really understood what democracy was, then they would know that we ain't living under no democracy.
Mm-hmm.
If they really understood what capitalism was, they would understand we living under an oligarchy capitalism, which doesn't benefit all of society. It takes advantage of and manipulates the most vulnerable segments of society and capitalizes off of it. See, capitalism can be used as a good word and also a bad, because some people like to take advantage and capitalize off of other people's bad standings or bad places in life. So now let's go back to this prison system thing and how capitalism was actually made successful in America off of slavery. Well, once somebody became humane and said, well, we're going to stop this slavery thing, somebody said, well, we got to find a way to keep maintaining our money and our way of life, because now we have become used to this lifestyle, this control, and this power, and this way of life. So what we're going to do? Oh, we're going to come up with peonage. We're going to come up with black codes. We're going to come in with debtors code. We're going to come up with all different types of ways to find a way to still keep our foot on these people that come from bad environments that we created.
Wow.
So that's what they're doing. You know, they're continuing to make sure that certain environments are maintained so the youth can't get that stability and that structure to learn how to reason, to learn how to use logic, because it takes a lot of peace to be able to focus. You get what I'm saying? But if you go up in a place where everything is stressful and you're struggling to survive and it's dog eat dog and every man for himself, it's hard for you to focus logically. But when you got that stability, me and Ryan talked about that. You know, Ryan's situation with his mother and his stepfather being the way that he was, had he not had some type of outlet or escape or exposure to something better, man, Ryan would probably be a monster. But he was able to go to his grandfather's house and see some stability, see some structure, see some reasoning, see some logic, and to know that there's a way out, and to have somebody that actually intentionally show you some guidance, mentor you on a consistent basis. See, the thing is you can put a child in a situation where they can leave that environment and escape it for a little second, but if they don't really have that resilience or that real driving them to dream and hope, they still gonna go back to whatever they need to do to survive in their most predominant environment. And so some people, you know, the way the system is set up is for some people to catch hell escaping that dysfunctional environment from an early age. The parents that put the children in scare straight, oh man, they wanted the best for them, but they had to ask for some help because they didn't even have the proper resources to take care of their children properly or expose them to the right things, put them in extracurricular activities. That's hard to afford now. You know what it takes right now for a child to play baseball And then to keep up with the rest of the kids is playing travel ball. Oh man, we didn't have that when I was young. They just made another way, but it made it harder for children that's young and talented. They made it harder for them to be able to access those things that will build character, that will build resilience, that would teach you to be patient, to crawl before you walk, to go through struggle to reap the reward at the end of the rainbow. Because the thing is some of those people that's in prison, they don't know how to be patient because they never got a reward in the end of being patient. So when it comes to necessity for you to survive and you need it right then and you got to do something strange for a piece of change, after a while it gets comfortable. You get desensitized and you see now, well, look, at least this is an option that works. Maybe I can continue doing it this way. And then once you get in prison, you start seeing how they function and how they do it. Some people go to prison and say, well, hey, you know what? I got needs. And what happens in prison stays in prison. So, yeah, I got a relationship in prison. But just because I did it in prison, when I get out, don't mean I'm gay. That's what they do in prison. Some people bring this prison lifestyle outside because that was the way that they learned to adapt and to survive or to even obtain some resources the wrong way. So, I mean, I agree with what everybody is saying, man, but we got to understand that this is a capitalism thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not the capitalism that we think it is. The democracy we live in is not a democracy that the way that it's supposed to be. It's a plutocracy where the rich and the people that own these prisons, these corporations that own the prisons, have created a system where they can capitalize off the back of people that are already vulnerable and incarcerated. I mean, why would you capitalize off them?
Exactly.
Why would you profit off them? You know what I'm saying? 10,000, if I ain't mistaken, man, it's enormous the amount of money that they make for each prisoner every day.
Yeah.
A bed. But then you look and see what they do to the prisoners, and that prisoner might be sitting in his cell dead and being eaten by bed bugs. It's funding for these prisoners, though. What happened to the funding for that prisoner in Fulton County? Who was watching him? How did that man end up dead and decomposing and having bed bugs eating them?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness, man! Under the care of a system, that's a government institution, Fulton County Jail.
Yep, they're supposed to take responsibility of everybody that comes in there. They supposed to take. They
imagine what they
supposed to take responsibility.
Imagine what they do to foster children.
Yeah, wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We're talking about the Penal Correctional Rehabilitation Center, prison, whatever terminology you want to use. Captain Leonard, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
Asking a question, brother. The penal system, rehabilitation center, prison system, whatever title you want to, they want to use up under that umbrella. What was the purpose of its beginning, and has it fulfilled the purpose in today's time?
What is the purpose? We all know what the purpose is. The purpose is to incarcerate individuals that break the law. That's the purpose.
Now, is everybody that's in there guilty?
Say that again, Ryan.
Is everybody that's in a rehabilitation center, are all those people guilty?
No.
Okay.
Very few of them are in there and they are innocent.
But it does happen.
That's why, yeah, it does happen.
Go ahead, brother.
Well, I'm just saying, when you ask me that question, I'm trying to figure out, what's the motivation of the question? It's to incarcerate people that break the law.
No, it was
to remove them from society.
That the purpose of that question was based on what you said, because I want to make sure that you shine light on all angles, because you say the purpose of it was to rehabilitate people that break the law, but not everybody in there is guilty of breaking the law. So I just wanted to shine the light on that part of it as well. But go ahead, make your point.
Well, no, I didn't say rehabilitate.
Okay.
I said incarcerate.
Incarcerate. Yes, you did. Go ahead.
And that's the purpose of the penal system. The penal system is not a choice that you would choose to get your life together. It is a punishment for crimes that you have committed against society. So let's not move past why it is there and why it is so productive.
Is it good? Is it a good system?
Because of the choice. Go ahead.
Is it a good system?
I mean, good in from what vantage point, it does do what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
It does incarcerate those who break the law. It does incarcerate those who have committed violent acts against people and remove them from society. I mean, what do you expect from it? It's not a place that you choose to go to. It's a place that you're punished to go to.
You said not a vacation spot.
No, you don't. This should never be an alternative or an option for anyone. It is supposed to deter you from committing crimes. You should not want to go there.
Yeah.
So the system itself, of course, there's a lot of corruption in the system. But then again, we have a corrupt justice system. Remember, the justice system is not the same as the penal system. Justice is where you go and you get convicted and you get sent to the penal institution. The penal institution is different.
Yeah.
So it's a whole, and all these things together is what make up a justice system. And we do know it is unjust. We know that already. That's why we do what we do as activists, and we help people behind bars and things of that nature. So it is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. It is a very good business to get into, actually. You know, for whatever reason, some people may have a problem with it. Like they got some people protesting and carrying on now about them building this complex to train police.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it as well. You got people don't even want you to train the police to do the job the way they're supposed to do it. While we fighting for more training every time something happens. So there's lots of different points of view. It's just depending on what side you want to be on. There are some people that don't believe you should be punished at all for anything that you do. And you should always get a tap on the hand and get a break. Until it's their family.
Yeah.
Until it touches them.
That's true.
So while you crying on behalf of people who have done horrible things to people, think about their victims.
Wow.
Think about their victims.
That's good. That's good.
They out to victimize you.
And searching for
That's
somebody
why
to
it's
do.
hard to get people to want to get involved to solve the injustice that goes on behind those bars because of what you have done to get there. It makes it hard to get sympathy for you.
Wow.
It's hard to get sympathy for a serial killer. It's hard to get sympathy for people that rob and sell dope. It's hard to do that. So it's best not to wind up in that system.
Leonard,
what do you say? People who are innocent.
What do you say to Leonard, to a young man that come to you and say, man, I tried everything else, man. I fill out all the applications, I fill out hundreds of applications, man. And because of my past, because I have a record and things of that nature, I'm trying to be on the straight and narrow, man. But I can't find any other way, man. Only way I know to make money to feed my family is to go out there, get on that corner and sell these drugs, Leonard. What do you say to him?
Well, you could. There's lots of other things you could do. But if you choose to do that, understand the risks that come with it. Is it worth that? Is it worth that?
Good question.
Didn't you get in trouble with it before? Ain't that how you got the record before? So why would you go back and doing that? Why would you do that again? Now, you could become an entrepreneur. Lots of people have done it. A lot of people that you see who are successful today have records. Lots of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's no excuse. See, people want an excuse to do what they have done. I said, I did this to feed my family. Why you didn't go down there to the church and get what's for the food giveaway every week? You wasn't down there. You didn't ask nobody for nothing to feed your kids. So you'd rather steal it?
Wow.
You'd rather steal. That's why you're doing what you're doing.
Good deal.
If you're being honest about the situation.
That's good.
Because I was right there and all my friends were selling dope, but I didn't have to sell that dope. I was right there with them. I had the same problem they had. But I chose not to sell dope because my freedom is more valuable than that.
Wow, that's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Stanley, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, brother. How you doing this morning?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Good to have you, brother. We're asking a question about the rehabilitation center, correctional facilities, prison, if you will. Prison, if you will. What was the purpose that it got started? What was its purpose in the beginning? And Stanley, has it had it fulfilled its purpose in today's times?
Not really, man. I did corrections for 2 years, and that wasn't my thing. I hated to see the brothers locked up. A lot of guys was in there for stuff that they did. Some in there for stuff they didn't do. Just happened to be in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong people. But no, it's not really correctional. It's more punishment than rehabilitation. A lot of folks, it has become what they call recidivism. You know, they do the same thing in and out. They get out for a few months, they're right back in. Because there's nothing being corrected. There's nobody being rehabilitated. It's more being punishment than anything. So the correctional system has become more of a business than correctional and rehabilitation. It's all about how many people they can get in there, how much money they can get per person. That kind of really help someone become a better person and be a productive member of society once they come out of there. And you know, so it's not working. It would be better if we went back to some of the ways they did in school. If we actually taught young men and women trades to where they could have a career or business, and once they come out of high school, then I don't think that we will have so many people in the prisons. But a lot of folks don't know anything. They have not been taught. They have not been guided. They have not been disciplined the proper way. And that's why you have so many people in and out of this system.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Ryan, talk to me, brother.
I'm here. I'm here. Hold on. I'm trying to avoid y'all hearing the beeping. So a couple of things that came to mind over what Rico was saying about my past, and somebody had brought up getting it out the mud, right? When you hear that term, my grandparents is where I get my work ethic from. They straight up got it out the mud. When they were coming up, they lived in a 1-bedroom shack with a mud floor. But he still went to college, still worked as a garbage man while going to college, while my grandmother raised the kids. And that's where I got, after learning that, after spending time learning those things with him, that's where I got my drive as I came out the city and stayed with him. And then when he immigrated to the States, he got a job at Chrysler. And again, started at the bottom, spent 32 years climbing that totem pole, retired, and then went into entrepreneurship. And he penny pinched the whole way. And I'm still trying to learn how to do that now. At 42 years old, I finally got myself in a position to where I can try and do that and try and teach it to my kids. And, you know, I was thinking back in the day, you guys all know this or about this, the DARE program. You remember the DARE program?
Yes, absolutely.
DARE to keep kids off drugs. But that was the wrong message, because those kids really didn't know what that was, or at least to the extreme, until the DARE program came around. That was a tool of subliminal messaging. Hey, look, these are these drugs. These are what they're called, and this is what they do to you. Stay away from them. They'll mess you up. What do kids do when you tell them stay away from something? They go do it.
Like a moth.
So that was another way. Yeah, and so that was another way to trick people into doing wrongdoing and put them in that system, right? And so, you know, one of the artists I listened to, he did a comparison rap between white folks and black folks. And he basically was talking about, you know, black folks on the corner selling crack, just to put some 24s on their Cadillac, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he made the comparison with white folks. They stuck up in the trailer park wearing wife beaters, beating their wife, getting strung out on meth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, man, you know, like when you hear it in a low level format, they got us, both groups trapped with them drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're seeing all these people on meth and how it destroy them. And when I was a CO, that's all I saw in Tennessee was white meth heads coming into jail.
Wow.
And they trying to figure out a way to get out. And when they get off that stuff, they're just a normal human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you try and teach them and coach them in the way that they should go. But like my wife was saying, there used to be that officers were there to learn the behavior, see why they made these mistakes, and figure out ways to correct it. But they don't do that anymore because it's not cost effective to train us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they hire more expensive means like therapists and social workers. And those don't work either.
No.
It just costs more money.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, people is when you talk about people being put in there as free labor, that labor ain't free. It has a cost, but it's not to the employer, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Wow.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes.
Raheem, before you leave from Ryan, because I did reference Ryan and he did hit on it a little bit, but can he really let everybody know how important that was to have that structure and that stability as an example from his grandfather and what may have happened had he not had him in his life and his example? You know, what kind of difference may have been in his life being based on the other environment that he had away from him?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most important thing because, you know, if you think about it, I grew up around drug dealers, gangbangers, and bikers. So I had every opportunity to become that. And I did do some of those things when I was younger. And I did get caught up in that life for a while, but it wasn't until my mother couldn't handle me anymore and couldn't handle the lifestyle she was living with my stepdad that she shipped me off to my grandparents. And then I started learning that grounding, that foundation. He started to, you know, it's like the books say, if you got a weak foundation, you're going to crumble. And so he started to be that cornerstone and teach me the way out because, you know, this is a man who immigrated here. He worked his way out of a mud shack, never touched a firearm, never had a reason to touch a firearm, but he made a way out of no way for his family. And that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. Zamari?
I love his grandparents, honestly. Like, his grandparents are the most amazing individuals for me that I have ever met. Amazing. And what I love about them most of all is that they've never forgotten where they came from and what it took for them to get where they are now. Mm-hmm. And the struggle that was involved in that. But I can tell you, Ryan and I wouldn't be together if he hadn't had some sort of foundation like that in his life, because I already know how messed up he was, how messed up we both were, really, both of us, when we were in our 20s, still kids together. Mm-hmm. I can't even imagine what he was like before that. Right? So if he had not had his grandfather and his grandmother, even while we were together at times, stepping in and correcting certain things, we would not be together. Mm-hmm. So it is very extremely fundamental to have that example in your life, because even for me, I learned a lot on how to be from his grandparents at 25, 26, 27, 28 years old, because I didn't have that foundation in my own life. So everything that I became, and I've told you guys this before, but everything that I am now, I do credit a lot of that to them modeling those things. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you know, seeing that certain behaviors and models that they had instilled in Ryan as well. So yes, absolutely, having that that foundation is extremely important. And Ryan and I have worked especially hard to give that to our children.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
I was looking at some numbers, and I don't do much of that, but I was looking at it in just 2020. It was from about 18,000 per prisoner in Mississippi to $135,978 per prisoner in Wyoming. States spend an average of $45,771 per prisoner. That's more than people make on the job.
Yeah.
And you got people that are moms, single moms that are going from one job to another, trying to make ends meet while they're the fathers of their children or somebody's getting paid this amount of money to keep them going, and not a dime is being sent to the children or the homes that they're supposed to be taking care of. That's on an average the states spend 135, I think, per state annual in prison. Anyway, you think about all of this money that is spent, and they talk about rehabilitation. I don't know why we relate the justice system, the penal system, rehabilitation, and we put all of those, and we think that that's all in the same bucket. They are part of the system, but every part of the system has its own how can I say this, banking system. Money goes where the money goes. It costs an average of about $106,000 per year in incarceration to incarcerate an inmate in prison in California.
Wow.
What? I mean, so that, look, man, an annual cost of incarceration grew to $556,000 per person in New York. What are we doing? Where's this money going?
Exactly.
Then you talk about a person that and Leonard is right. The prison system or jail is for people that commit crimes. It's not to help them stop committing crimes. They go there because they commit the crime.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you think that when you get there, they're trying to keep you out of it, no, sir, wrong answer. They want to keep you in. And I guarantee you, they got some people that's patrolling right now. That there are some people that are on their way there as we speak. And for the next 5 years, all of them figures that I've add them up and multiply them by 5, and somebody gonna get that money.
Wow.
That's for not only parents but some children that start to be that commit crimes at an early age. They don't discriminate as far as the cost is concerned, saying, okay, that's on the child, we're going to spend $10,000. And if it's an adult, we're going to spend $50,000. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's just, they don't say, well, this is a child, we gonna give them a discount. There's no discount. But it's not designed to help nothing. And you think about how the streets and the communities and our families are not getting any better. but they're getting worse. And they keep building prisons.
Mm-hmm.
They shut one down and open 5 more.
Build one school and 3 prisons. Ain't that something?
Ain't that something? Shutting the school down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live in a community that well, I don't live in a community. I went to a community.
Mm-hmm.
And after Katrina, they bulldozed the school down and went back to busing kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 2023, here we are still sending kids out of their neighborhood to go somewhere else to a public school.
Wow.
Where the school that was once in their neighborhood no longer exists. How much it take to do that? So you know, I don't know how much more I could say about this, but I'm just saying there's a lot of wasted money. But people that are being rehabilitated, I never could pronounce that word. That ain't happening. I know that much.
Rehabilitated. You did it, brother. You did it.
I did the best I could.
Stanley, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, that was on the grandparent piece he was speaking of, about the foundation about the grandparent. That's what really got me level off when I was younger because of my grandparents. I went to live with my grandmother, my dad's mom, maternal grandmother, when I was paternal, when I was about 13 going on 14, because she was getting older, so I stayed with her, got a lot of values from her. But my maternal grandfather, which is my mom's dad, I learned a lot of my business stuff from him. You know, we owned a bunch of rental properties, we owned the farm and all that kind of stuff. I was 14 years old with no driver's license, but he had me collecting rent for him at 14. I would get in the pickup at a Ford F-150, and I would drive to different places, different people's houses, picking up rent. And he would let me know this person, they're not going to have all their money this week, so that she going to give me this amount. He gave me the receipt book and everything. It instilled a lot of values in me, the work ethic. We had the farm, we slaughtered hogs, we fed the cows. And on some Saturdays, me and my uncle, who's my pastor now, he's the youngest son, I'm the oldest grandson, so he's the pastor of my local church. We spend a lot of Saturdays now putting up fence and, you know, mending fences and feeding the cows and different stuff like that. So a lot of Saturday nights, when our friends, as we were teenagers, when our friends was out getting in trouble, we would be too tired to go out some Saturdays. But it taught us a work ethic. We didn't understand it at the time. You know, we thought we was being punished, but actually it taught us a work ethic and how to stay out of trouble. So if you been doing that all day long, you too tired to go hang out with the boys getting in trouble. You know, I know guys right now my age still doing the same thing that they were doing 20 or 30 years ago. They have not progressed, have not, you know, moved up. And I give you this when I got to go to an appointment. But not Ice Cube, I keep saying Cube, but it's Ice-T said something I saw an interview a couple of weeks ago. He said, as you get older and you change, you become fathers, you become grandfathers, you become productive members of society in your community, organizational leaders, advocates, church leaders, and all that kind of stuff. In certain places, you can't diet. Certain places you can't go because, you know, they're like, what was he doing in this spot anyway? You know, I can't go to the clubs anymore. I can't hang out with guys that sell drugs or run guns or anything like that, because, you know, when you become, some of us have been rehabilitated without going to prison, without going to a correctional facility. Some of us just have matured and hung around the right people and made the right relationships that we grew without having to suffer like a lot of our brothers are doing in these prisons, sisters are doing in these prisons. We've been rehabilitated, but we didn't have to go through the system to get rehabilitated. God has done a lot for a lot of us. Most of us on this phone call have God in our life, and we know the power that the Lord can do for us. By rehabilitating us, the right people.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. That's good. Toya with the T, talk to me, sis. Willa, coming to you next. Toya.
Yeah, I'm here. I feel like the topic took a turn. You know, I'm feeling like the conversation came on grandparents, but I didn't have a large interaction with mine.
Mm-hmm.
But then I felt like it ended up on God, and that's where I had the interaction at. I think that's the key to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, even back in the day, we know prison is the system of a form of punishment that man created. And even some of God's best people went there. But God still set a lot of people free in a whole different ways, and not just jail.
Mm-hmm.
The same way we can speak about prisons metaphorically, the same way we can speak about it with it from a reality aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about jail, it's just not being locked up in an institution according to humans. Sometimes in this life, we all feel trapped right where we are. You ain't even in prison. You still feel like you ain't free.
Come on.
You still feel like you locked up.
Mm-hmm.
You still feel like you chained down.
Mm-hmm.
So this conversation right here is about different levels, because just because you're not no prisoner in the actual prison, don't still mean you ain't a prisoner to yourself. Thinking that you're better than somebody else.
Say it.
Thinking that, because you came from this, I didn't get caught for my stuff. So since I made it so far, so high up there, I just forget what life is about and just judge everyone with an iron fist. I used to be like that. But let me tell you something, this judgment day that God got set forth, all that you think you doing, that's why he say every knee shall bow. Because you can't do nothing but fall to your knees when you find out what you've been doing ain't nothing in God's eyes. You've been being a Pharisee.
Come on.
At the end of the day, we're talking about prisoners instead of our hearts going out to them. We neglect them too. And he tells us to go into these prisons and find out the truth. I was looking at some exoneration statistics, and even though I know that 1.2 million of our people are in jail, it still hurts me the fact that New York has exonerated only 123 people. You know what exonerated is for? That means people who they thought did the crime, didn't do the crime.
Yeah, they do the crime. Yeah.
Do we really think that those numbers are actual? It's not no more in there like that. Right? So we do know that this man-made prison a lot of times can be false. Just look at the whole story of Jesus, right? They locked him up for doing good. He really ain't do nothing. So we know that it's a consequence to these people having this power, putting humans there. So we can't judge them for that, but we still neglect them. But what about us?
Exactly.
What are we prisoners to?
And we had a fella on the show a couple of weeks ago that spent 30 years in prison for something he did not commit, a crime he did not commit.
That's right.
30 years. He spent 30 years in prison, still fighting to get his money because they don't want to pay him.
Look, Someone said we don't have compassion for murderers, right? Wasn't that what he was accused of? Murder?
Yes.
We didn't have no compassion for him, and come to find out how many years later that he didn't do it, and 30. We still don't get why we shouldn't be killing people. Talking about a capital punishment, because we're finding out later, despite the evidence, despite the power, that what you thought, what people voted, got together and was influenced to vote, turned out not to be true. So maybe we do need to redirect the way we punish people. Like, we have to think about all of those things when we, not have compassion for them. But we also, again, just because you outside of jail, don't think you free.
And see, and people get on me all the time about what I'm about to say, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to go to, well, but just like I think the school system that we have here in the United States of America right now is outdated. I think they need to go in and redo the school system, because the way it is, the way it's set up back, the way it was in the 50s and the 60s, it's 70s, it's pretty much the same school system, and everything else has evolved. Why haven't the school system, the way of teaching, the way of educating, why haven't that evolved? Why does it have to be the same thing? And I think and another thing I think they're doing in school systems today, I think they overtest the children. They overtest them. But I'm saying that to say this, just like the school system need to be somebody need to go in and revamp it, if you will. I think the prison system need to do the same thing in the prison system. Revamp it. You got the same system that you had from the beginning. Everything else in society has changed. Why haven't that? Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Raheem. Good morning. Good morning, Morning Glow. Good morning.
Good morning. Since I'm asking a question, we're talking about the penal system, correctional facilities, prisons, if you will. What was the purpose that they got started, and have they fulfill their purpose in today's times. What do you say to that, Willa?
You know what you just said, Raheem. I mean, Toya, I can't really say too much behind Toya because she hit the nail straight through, and it went through the wood. And I'm gonna say that because our penal system is messed up because of the fact that you look at who's judging them. Men are judging men. We're trying to correct the weed from the tare.
Yeah.
So it's really hard from another human standpoint in order to say we're gonna correct another man's faults when we have our own faults that we just haven't got caught at. But because we do have this system, because some people are guilty, they are. That. People are guilty. So how do we correct that? We through rehabilitation, they call it. I know so many people that has been in prison that at one time or another, I knew I had a real good friend in prison. He was there for like 15 years. And I was going every week almost to see him. He was in a federal prison.
Yeah.
And I have learned so much about the federal prison versus the state prison. The state prison, when they put you in jail, their leniency is if they give you 8 years, depending on if it's a class 4, X, whatever, you may even do half of that. Now, if you go into a federal, and sometimes they put you on the monitor, right? And you might be on the monitor for a year. So when you get your time, they're deducting the time that you've been out, even on the monitor. But when you go into a federal facility, you're going to do 85 from the day that they say you're guilty.
Yeah.
You're going to do 85% of whatever it is. Now, remember back then before they started arresting, and I'm not getting into a black and white thing, but I got to say this, because the person that went into jail at that time went in because of weight, drugs, weight. He was carrying weight.
Yeah.
So they gave him more time than they did that somebody had killed somebody. Somebody had went to jail for murder, and they got, 10, 15 years. He got 25 years for carrying weight. And he wasn't even the main person. I'm not taking up for him.
Yeah.
But I was just saying exactly what you said. It needs to be reevaluated.
Yeah.
Because it's not doing any good for us. They're letting people out, some people out, because the jails are too full. And some of the same people that they're letting out are still doing crime.
Yep.
Come on, Ryan.
Exactly. You absolutely.
So yeah. Somebody needs to look at the system. Who should it be though?
Yeah. That's a good. Now that's the question. That's the question right there. Who should it be? Absolutely. Hold on, Willa.
From my heart.
There you go. Hold on now. I ain't know you were finished till you say that right there. Now, when you say that, I know I can move on, because if you don't say that, Willa said she ain't done. She ain't done.
You ain't gonna let me go. Okay.
Good deal. Ryan, you say you wanted to say something, brother, and Cassandra coming to you next.
Yeah, so I can remember when I was a CO talking to guys, because it's state time, right?
Yes.
Got that county time. And a lot of the methods that I would use for individuals, especially because, like I've said before, I ran the whole, right? The guys who couldn't get along with general population. And a lot of the times what I could use as a tool, not that I liked to do it, but it seemed to work, was to remind them that on state time, if they're going to the Fed, that I go ahead and you keep acting out, I'll reverse that, and you can stay your behind right here in state. And that would correct that behavior, because that Fed time, according to them, the guys that have been there, done that, that's that easy time.
Yeah.
They go in there and serve that sentence and get everything. That state time, that's scary, because those guys in the state, I think it was Rico was talking about that, these guys end up dead. a lot of the time, because in that state time, it's more violent because you mixed in, especially in our facility, with feds, guys going away for life that don't care about you. I ain't worried about you. I'm finna go away the rest of my life. I'll take yours. They took mine, I'm gonna take yours. And they would threaten officers with that all the time. And that's why I didn't understand when I was in there why some of these officers would act a fool like they was untouchable. They go in there kicking doors, just making these people's lives more miserable than it already was. And then I'm getting come down on by my superiors because I'm walking in there treating people differently, right? I can walk into any situation and I got them guys talking about, I'll take your life because you took mine, telling the state guys, hey, you better back up off him. He's the one who gets me my toilet paper in the morning. He doesn't play games. So we ain't playing games with you messing with him. And that stuff is crazy, man. The politics that go on inside the pods. That's just something I wanted to add is about the state and fed differences that from my time behind those walls, because you did it too. And it ain't no picnic for us neither. We in there, we just doing half a day instead of a full day like them.
And see, one of the things that I recognize, man, like I said, I worked there for 10 years, man, and for whatever reason, not because they big or bulky or killers or nothing like that, man, but a lot of times what happened in the prison with killers is when a woman come there and go in the room, a lot of time they'll calm down. I don't know if it's because of the mothering aspect of it or whatever, but they could be arguing, fussing, and cussing, and then you bring a woman in there, and she's there, what are you doing? And all that stuff will end, man. Ryan, I don't know if you ever saw that or not, man. I've seen it many times.
It was the opposite for me. It was the opposite for me at my facility. The females would come in there and be nastier than the men.
I've seen those too. I seen. Now you picked the right one. Now you picked the right young lady. Miss Davis. Miss Davis. She was one of the ones that, I don't care, man. I've seen dudes do all kind of crazy stuff in there, man. But Miss Davis, she had that mothering aspect. She actually worked in Columbia now in a college dorm. She's like one of them dorm moms, whatever it is. She's doing that now. But she had that mothering thing about her. And the guys that be acting up or whatever, and Miss Davis should go in there. And she said, now, why are you acting like this?
Yeah. See, and
it was just a killer, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You said something then, man. There's a lot of psychology in that.
Yeah.
Because most people that go in those situations and seem like they can't find their way out, they just seem to just keep going back because that's all they know. They missed that from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Then on top of it, you're around a bunch of hard legs anyway. When you calm down, when you actually see a real deal woman come around, I mean, the closest thing to a woman in jail, if it ain't the CEO, is one of them that's pretending.
Yeah.
I calm down too. I smell as soon as she walked through the gate. Oh, I think I smell a woman.
Exactly.
So, they calming down easily.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, Miss Davis, she had that thing about her, man. She going there, man, and like these killers, man, they tearing up stuff, fighting and beating up the room and doing all kind of stuff. Then what are you doing? And I guarantee you, it's like, and you just cower down. Let me go to consent. Go ahead.
Finish my thought.
Absolutely, go ahead.
The killer for me was dealing with killers and being the individual that I am. And like we was talking last week, they lend me that ear. And then they start crying.
Yeah.
And then you get put in that spot as a CO where do you be a man and take them off in the back somewhere and give them a hug and violate that policy, or do you just walk away? And I was confronted with that many times.
Yeah. Man, I told y'all the story about this young kid that came into prison, man. He was like 15 years old, man. And he was down there acting up real bad. He was acting up real bad down on the floor, man. And I went to check because I heard a lot of noise. And one of the lifers, man, he said, "Algerman, you lucky you came and we was about to get him." Because you got to understand, man, them lifers, that's their living room, man. You in their living room. They there for the rest of their life, man. They ain't going home. And to have somebody act up like that, man, and this young boy, I took him up to the office. I told him go up to the gate and stand there till I get there. And took him to the office and I was talking to him, man, and he just broke down, started crying. He said, man, I ain't supposed to be here, man. I'm supposed to be in school right now. I'm supposed to be in school. And I had to tell him more reality, brother. You ain't going to school. You're not going to school, man. You got 30 years, bro. You ain't going to school, and it's all because he was with the wrong crowd, tried to rob some people, doing a drug deal, tried to rob some people. One of his buddies shot and killed somebody. 30 years, man, at 15 years old. That's one of the reasons right there, man, that made me walk away from that. I said, man, I can't see this here, man. I can't see this. And that's the reason right there. That's one of the reasons why I got out of. Cause people told me, man, you could retire. You could retire, man. You could walk away. I already had 10 years in. I already had 10 years. But I couldn't do that, man. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning? Cassandra? Wake up and go to sleep. Cassandra, wake up and go to sleep. Jamal, you got something on your heart?
I was just thinking about that story you just told. That's really sad. And I'm assuming that kid had never committed any sort of offense before that, correct?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
He wasn't the one holding the gun. Yes, he was involved. But I think, isn't there a law about offenses like that?
No. South Carolina it was in the state of South Carolina, and South Carolina got this thing, hand of one is hand of all. The hand of one is the hand of all. If your buddy did it, and you with him, even if you had anything, if you with him, if you had, didn't have anything to do with it at all, hand of one is the hand of all. And so he gonna get the same charge, the same punishment. And that's terrible, but that's South Carolina. A lot of states are like that, hand of one, hand of all.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he shouldn't have done that, right? But I feel like that young man right there probably would have been one of the ones like we were talking about. He recognized his mistake. Bet you he wouldn't have done it again.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you he wouldn't have done it again. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. The states need to look at that stuff more closely, in my opinion.
But see, the thing about it, and what the court system was saying is whether he's going to do it again or not, whether he repent, whatever you want to say, however you want to phrase it, is not going to bring the man back that was killed.
No, but if he has that repentant heart, if he really is apologetic and remorseful, truly remorseful, right? And he wants to be rehabilitated, if you will, why not? Put him in one of those halfway houses, or put him in an environment where he can grow into the best version of himself. I don't know.
A part of me can agree with what you're saying, but I also have to listen to what Leonard said when Leonard spoke. I'm going to go to Leonard right now. Think about the victims. You got somebody, you got, the family member is gone for the rest of life. He's not coming back. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Just listening to everybody's point of view. But your point of view and your feelings, if they don't translate into fair policy, you ain't gonna never find a solution. What I cannot do is regulate who you open your legs and mate with. What I cannot do is choose what you do with your extra time. But what I can do is when you harm another person in this society, make sure that you are punished for what you've done.
Should he have gotten punished?
Excuse me?
Should he have gotten punished to that level? Because South Carolina has that hand of one, hand of all. They was selling drugs, stuff like that. It took a turn. Guy got killed. Should he have been given 30 years as well?
And this is what people need to understand why we fight so hard against states' rights. See, if you understood that and you got involved in this system, you learn how to take control of this system. But first, you got to learn how to take control of yourself. This system is not meant for just this old happy-go-lucky sense that I hear sometimes. Y'all obviously don't know people that don't care nothing about the law and all these types of things. Well, they don't go to the store. They wait till you buy what you want, and they break in your house and take that. Because that's who they are.
Yeah.
I would love to, we should have a better system that addresses certain issues. And, you know, you see the steps that way. There's lots of programs now and things of that nature to keep you from doing these things you say you didn't have no other choice to do. But if I was sitting there right there with you and you said, come on, let's rob this bank, and I said, no, I'm not going to go with you today.
Yeah.
Me and you both had the same choice. Hey, look at them people over there. It look like they got something. Let's go stick them up. I'm trying to help somebody right now. She has a very hard program where she tries to get people who have already been convicted and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. So what her organization does is try to get them that parole. But they don't owe you that.
Yeah.
You in their game, not yours. Hold on.
Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. We're talking about the penal system, correctional facility, prison, if you will. The way that it was established, what it was established for, doing that. Why was it really established, and have it served its purpose? Captain, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, Raheem. Fine, thank you for asking. Good morning, Globe.
Good morning, sir. What do you think about that? The correctional facility, rehabilitation center, prison, if you will. What was the purpose? What was the initial purpose of them creating that? And has it fulfilled its purpose in today's times?
Well, I think the purpose was correction. That's what it was called, correction. Those who convicted of any crime were sentenced to these institutions to be reformed and corrected. That was the purpose, reform and correct. You were supposed to go to these institutions, and they had certain jobs and training that would help reform you so that when you left those facilities, you would not return back to society the same individual that you came. Well, that was the purpose. I'm sure that was the intent. I mean, many years, but it's no longer corrections, it's containment. It's containment. Purpose is to contain, not to correct, to take you off the streets and put you in a place where you're confined and contained. So they're in the business of confinement and containment. They are no longer in the business of rehabilitation. That's far from rehabilitation. An average person would go from society, go into the penal system, and sometimes come out worse than when they went in.
Yes.
They go in and they learn certain things and adapt to a certain behavior that they bring out. So they establish in some cities a reentry program. Now the reentry program is to take and hopefully get you to come to a certain kind of behavior so they could justify and giving you either early release. But there's no longer correction and there's no longer rehabilitation. It is confinement and containment. And that's all they do. They hold the person for the state or for the federal until their time is up. That's the business they in. That's how I see it, right?
Wow. So and I said earlier that I think it's outdated. Do you think the whole system is outdated? Captain.
Yes, can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you. Do you think the whole system, penal system, if you will, is outdated?
Oh, there's no question. You know, I'm sure y'all discussed this. The whole system is designed to make money. You know, it's no longer. Reforming people it's a money business. That's why you have people that's able to own facilities. And now it's about how many people you can put in their beds. They have no concern about correcting human beings. It's outdated. There's no question.
Good deal. Good deal.
It's right now. The prison system is a.
Hey, Cap, we got some background noise. It's kind of hard to hear you. We got some background noise coming from you. I don't know if you got your window rolled down or you're outside or something like that. And it's the wind.
Hold on. No, it's not me.
Okay, there you go. Oh no, might have been somebody else in line, but yeah, we can hear you much better now. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is that it's a ticking time bomb. It's going to pretty much explode. Why I'm saying that is because when the country goes into what you call a recession, and we know what recession is nothing but depression. Then the people that suffer the most is those that depend on services that would maintain their existence. So if the economy goes bad and food goes bad, and it was terrible in the COVID because a lot of these guys inside the institution, they suffered. The prison guards got sick. There was nobody to maintain them. A lot of them couldn't get out their cells. And then they had a heat problem when certain services, a tornado hit, if a flooding takes place. Oh, it's a terrible place to be. And there will be a lot of uprising that you'll start seeing probably this summer. That's what I'm hearing by some of the correction officers. Ryan probably knows a lot about the attitude of what's going on in those prisons. But if these guys don't get a chance to see any hope, then what are they living for? And it's not depleting, it's not decreasing, it's increasing. And it's being full of juveniles. So they're putting juveniles with a lot of the adults. When Rikers Island, that was the biggest problem in Rikers Island. I used to go to Rikers Island with the peacekeepers, and they had to separate the juveniles from the adults. But it's terrible, but it is outdated. There's no question about it. Answer your question. It's outdated, and I don't know who's out there fighting to create a new type of system. They got a supermax prisons. I mean, it's terrible. America have more people locked up in the penal system than any country on the planet.
Absolutely.
Any country on the planet.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, right? It's a ticking bomb, my brother.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
There you go. We got you. We got you this time. Cassandra, we're talking about the penal system, correctional institution, prison, if you will. What is the purpose, from your estimation, what is the purpose in which it was created? And has it reached its purpose in today's times? What do you say to that?
It was supposedly to reform and, well, the biggest thing I think was reform and stop people from the I always get that word, recidivism.
Yeah.
To keep that rate down. But it is, to me, it's a huge fail. I've done prison work for probably close to 40 years, and state, local, and federal prisons. I worked with the federal prison system, teaching and preaching for about 10, 11 years. And I can tell you, for a lot of it, it's revolving doors. And it's sad because at least at one point, guys could get their college degrees. They could work, they could be working on educating themselves and stuff. And they cut so much of it. The more they privatize.
Privatize.
The more the more they made them private, to me, the worse it got. And I think it was Cap that just said it's about money. It is definitely just a money machine. Basically, to me, just get them in there so that these people can make their millions and billions off of the back of, come on, I'm going to say it, off of the back of slaves. That's the way basically I see it. It's a form of slavery, just a modern form of slavery. So there are groups in Atlanta, I know for sure, that are working on prison reform. The governor says that he wants to see prison reform. I don't know how real that is, but anyway, that's what he says. So I think it's a huge disgrace to this country, which is supposed to be the superpower, that we have such a large population, prison population.
Absolutely.
So, that's it.
Absolutely. Rico, talk to me, brother.
It was even worse is that we have such a large number of people being exonerated for crimes they were wrongfully convicted of, and not for nothing. After 30 and 40 years, that's even worse. But that goes to show you just how much of a system it is. So you ask if it's outdated. It's outdated and manipulated. That's the biggest part of it. It has been manipulated into a system. Ever since slavery or emancipation, the prison system has evolved into another form of enslaving people or just controlling people or destroying people. You know, you talk about the guy that was prosecuted at 16 for, you know, being involved in the crime. And they call that being an accomplice.
Yeah.
You know, now if you made a choice knowing that this person was going to rob a bank or to go do this crime, yeah, you should do that time. But man, there's been times that I know that people got in the car and didn't know what was going on. And they still caught that time. I got a friend named Nathaniel Woods got executed a few years ago for being in a home when the police bust in. He was over at the dope house playing video games, if I ain't mistaken, or just hanging out smoking. And the police decided to do a drug bust, and come to find out these cops were dirty anyway. They come to do a drug bust on the guy that was living there. The guy that was living there wasn't going alive. Now they say Nate was the one selling the drugs. That's possible. But the guy that shot the police, he had his mind made up that he was going to shoot the police.
Yeah.
Nate didn't even know. The guy pled guilty after he killed 3 policemen. Nate got out the house. Actually went up to the police and pretty much turned himself in because they didn't even know that he was in the house.
Yeah.
Now he's executed as an accomplice because they claim the music that he listened to was saying that he wanted to be a part of killing the cops too. So they treated him as a tandem. The person that actually killed the cops and pled guilty, avoided the execution, told the state that Nate didn't know what I was going to do. It was something just snapped in me and made me do it. I didn't want to go to jail, so I saw the gun and I just picked it up and I fired on him. Nate didn't know a thing. Nate gone. Nate is gone just for being in the wrong place, wrong place at the wrong time. You know, but see, I don't like to be political because I call it down the middle, man. Both sides of this bird is dirty. You know what I'm saying? One side is pulling for one thing, one side is pulling for another, and then both of them playing the same game, and that's control and power and manipulating the sheep, the masses. And so I listened to Hillary Clinton come up with this term called super predator. And I heard our president, Joe Biden, the one that said, if you don't vote for him and you're black, you ain't black. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. The same person said, I don't care what created the super predator. I just want to lock them up and get them off the street. All these people that are in prison were children one time. I wonder what their upbringing was like. I wonder what they missed in their upbringing. They got them to a situation where they ended up here. If they made the choice to get there, if they really did what they did to get there. I wonder what was missing. What was their environment like to have them make the decision? You know, sometimes you can look at a person and tell, you know what, man, every decision they make comes out of the fact that they lost hope. It came out of desperation, and they had to survive by any means necessary to a point where they had to just say, I don't care about good or bad. I just need to get what I need to get. And that's the way they learned to be. Did nobody correct them? Did nobody reform them? And now here it is, they're in a system where they're not being corrected and reformed. Alabama has decided to build mega prisons. I guarantee you they're going to be full of black and brown children. But see, this is the thing about it. With that accomplice thing and being charged as an adult at 16, these states, they copy each other. It's all one big system to make sure they can still control certain populations also, because they know only certain people going to do certain crimes, like with the crack law and the cocaine law. Remember how that went? That was racist. Can we believe? People didn't believe it at first, but now we understand that it was racist. The crack law and the cocaine law. What the war on drugs, you know, the whole nother form of it. But see, this is the thing now. If you are 16 years old and you do anything that seems or implicates yourself as a gang member, associates yourself as a gang member, they put you on this list. I think I mentioned this earlier. Florida is already doing it, and Alabama has a bill in place now. Another way to charge 16-year-olds as adults. Another way to charge 16-year-olds as adults. Even if they just claim a gang, and they might not even be in one, but it might just be the cool thing. You know, you hear about different rappers claiming gangs, and then they get beat up because they wasn't really in the gang. If you claim a gang and you get in any kind of little trouble, you're going to get charged as an adult, even if you were just being young and immature and going along with a fad of a trend, because some people actually are getting paid big money, rappers, for claiming and gang banging. So now if you out here imitating these rappers and claiming a gang, and somebody in your neighborhood are rapping, but they're part of this gang, you're going to get adult charges if you get caught up in the crime, or even if you get wrongfully convicted. So now, once again, these super predators are starting out as children, because the ones in the prison were children once before.
Exactly.
But if you don't care about what created them when they were children, then you're going to continue to have them to be able to lock up, which is going to make you more money.
And think about this. I don't know why this came to me, man, but if you're setting up a system where kids at 16 years old could be tried and convicted as an adult, is that a form of population control?
And it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed long-term money for each bed that you're filling up from the government that's paying you to house these people.
Exactly. Toya with a T, talk to me, sis.
Yeah, same topic, right?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just missed that last part. I'm headed out the door.
Oh, okay.
So I missed that last. Who was talking?
Rico.
Sorry, Rico.
Yeah. But what we're talking about is and he said that what they're doing. He said Florida's already doing it, Alabama's about to do it, and other states. I promise you're gonna follow suit in this whole idea of what they're trying to do, being able to incarcerate people 16 years old as adults. And you know he made a very valid point. He said
More
it's more funding, but at the same time it's also population control, because if you lock them in prison, you can't make no babies.
Absolutely. Well, that's a point too. But if you get married, y'all can go off and get your little, what you call it when you get married?
Conical visit.
Make babies that way.
The conical visit.
Yeah, that ain't total elimination, but yeah, that's another part of it. You know, statistically, they got people to sit back and say, hey, this percentage is more likely to be, you know, not get married, not have kids, do this, do that. And of course, you know, it's about funding. It's about funding the government and not the population. Somebody said something earlier, but I couldn't hop in because I'm getting ready, about the families and how there should be a funding for these people. And there are funding. How many people have actually went to like their county or city meeting to see where the funding in their city goes? How many of us actually watched the breakdown on what the United States and where they distribute each of these funds to, and all of these different funds for victims of people that fell upon crimes and prisoners' families and things of that nature? I bet you a large majority of us don't. But these items and documents do exist. And where does these monies go, right? So if we are talking about the prison industry, if we know that they base these individuals off of third-grade reading scores, and we know that this is a systematic issue that has plagued people of color, right? Because people not of color don't think it's an issue because it doesn't happen to you. But we've been screaming since the 60s and the 1900s and 1600s that when it comes to us, they make sure we get an adequate care in our schools and adequately educated, because they know that it contributes to being at risk, which again goes to more funding. Even when it comes to nonprofit, you have to be sourcing it for a reason. There's some kind of disparity. And you're not going to get funded if there's no disparity. So there's no funding. You know what I'm saying? So again, we already know that this is the cycle. This is the system that they take. Specifically, just talking about us, people of color, we know that this is another way that they generated money from us by incarcerating us unlawfully, knowing that we didn't do it, coming up trying to make it seem like it's fair in a county of your peers, you know, your peers, but then you all still pick and choose those. There's a whole system behind who you pick and choose, who's going to be most likely to go ahead and say, yeah, you're guilty. Even me, right? I know God is good, but I watched the public defender go up to the DA and say, hey, we're going to let her get off with probation for a crime that I should have gotten some time for. But I put that on God, not on man. But at the end of the day, we know that there are disparities, especially for people of color, especially when it comes to prison. And we know that if they're lowering the age to 16 to make more money, why would they try to come up with a solution? Why would they want to stop that if they're building mega prisons to house them? That's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Contradictory to the point of them trying to make the profits off of it. Why would we come back and make sure that our children are fully educated if we know that they're not going to end up in jail fully educated? They're not going to end up in jail, you know what I'm saying, without the disparity. So we already know what it's about, and we just have to decide what are we going to do to stop it.
And Beth,
Raheem,
yes.
I wanted to ask anyone, because usually when people have these conversations, because I've led community forums, because I've, sit with people and people have tried to hire me and things of that nature, and they automatically assume I would be a great defense attorney for them. And I have to clear them up on one thing. I represent and will support innocent people. If the data was not there to support what someone is doing that's trying to make money, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody made it up. They've watched it happen. Then they say, you know what? Don't seem to be much we can do to stop them. We don't try to deter them. But guess what? There are some people still gonna do it.
Yeah. Regardless.
Hey, look up how many kids killed one another just this past weekend. With malice in their heart to do so. Nobody's making this up to trap you. This is how you're behaving. Ain't nobody did nothing but sit back and watch. Then you go back, how many of you really know people that's innocent? Really?
Yeah.
Because all the cats I hang out with, they're criminals. And they get caught doing it. That was the thing. Not get caught, but then they started getting caught. Some of my friends have done 15, 20 years already. Got back out, and you know what? They thank God they're still alive and they made it through to now, you know what? Now I'm going to do the right thing. Because it took them a while to choose to do so. Yes, it's going to be much harder. Yes, it's going to be that. But you got to remember, they're killing other black and brown people. Everybody talks about how rough it is for them, how rough it is. Imagine how rough it is for that little boy or girl that don't lost their brother, their sister, their mother, or their father. These things must be considered when you're looking at the outcome of something as opposed to what happened.
That's good.
To get you there. My grandfather, as old as he was, he had 13 kids. And like he used to always tell me, I hope you choose better than some of mine have chosen. You keep doing what it is you're supposed to do. You know what? I had to choose not to have certain friends. I had to choose to walk alone. Because everybody else was trying to do what was popular and what was cool and all that type of stuff. I went to the military to get out of trouble. Do you understand me? Don't tell me nothing about what you couldn't and could not have done. They build these systems because of your behavior. It's because of how you behave and what you do. They can track you from the 4th, 5th grade because the analytics are just that great. And you follow the same pattern. That's why the goal of anyone that's trying to change things has to be to break the cycle, break the pattern.
Good
and
deal.
That's not something to be legislated. That's your behavior. If you insist on selling dope, if you insist on murdering, raping, and robbing, and doing all of that, what do you think should happen to you? We talk about why we got the most people locked up. Other countries you go to, they don't care nothing about dead bodies and people getting raped and killed and women treated any kind of way and everything. And the system wasn't created to correct you.
Okay, hold right there.
The system was created as a hard labor situation, and you violating the law.
Okay, hold right there for a
And
second,
then all
brother.
the
I got
about later on with
Leonard.
with more legislation.
I got to
came
pull.
far after. Yeah.
I got to hold on, brother. I got to pull some more people into the conversation. Hold on for 1 second. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart right now?
I mean, this is a whole jacked up system. And what the laws are supposed to be there for, you know, there are people that make choices every day to do crimes. And it's going to range. Those that feel like they have no choice, those that do it because they want to do it, and those that are mentally different.
What about the ones that feel as though and they've been trying to do things the right way? And I know people that's like this as well, been trying to do things the right way for so long, but they always get these doors slammed in their face. And so the only option that they have, they feel is the only option that they have is to go out there and make it the way they got to make it, do it the way they got to do it. And if that includes breaking the quote unquote the law, then the kids still got to eat, man. They still got to keep a house over their head, man, and different things, or they the clothes on their back and things. What do you say to the person that has tried for so long to do it the right way? And I'm not here to try to make any excuse for anybody, but I just want to hear your answer to this. They tried for so long to do it the right way, but they keep getting doors slammed in their face. And the only option they got, they feel like the only option they got is to do it the discreet way. What do you say to that person?
You have no idea how many times I've actually encountered that situation.
Okay, so you know it's real.
Including myself.
Okay, so you know it's real. So what do you say to that person?
Push harder.
Wow. That's not what you want to hear, Badger.
Unfortunately, in this life, there are this is more the mental health advocate in me. Being someone that was on the streets, didn't have a place to go, doors constantly closed in my face. Watching other people do the same thing. And there were those of us that kept going forward because we knew what those consequences were going to be if we went down the other road. And I've also seen the ones that gave in, or the ones that struggle and do those things that are against the law. Once again, it's a spectrum. It's based on the individual and what they're capable of, it boils down to making a choice and strong enough to hold on to that choice.
I mean, all that sound real good, man. But you're talking to somebody, man, that has exhausted all the avenues, man, and did everything they could do, try to do it the right way, but constantly getting the door slammed in their face, man. And they looking at their children, and the children say, "Daddy, I'm hungry. Daddy, it's cold in here because the electricity is off." You know, I don't think that dad want to hear that, man. What that dad want is to provide for these children, to put some food in their mouth, man, because they hungry. You dad, man, you ain't gonna look at your children and say, "Man, I gotta push hard." No, man, I got to feed these kids, man. I gotta feed these kids.
So here's my thing. I know how to fish. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to hunt.
Okay, Badger. You see, you personalize this. I'm not talking about you.
I'm
not talking about you though.
You're talking to someone was homeless for 10 years.
Okay, can I throw this in real
knowing
quick?
And having the experience of walking alongside people of all colors on the streets that were homeless, and watching the difference between those of us that just continued to push hard no matter what happened to us, we kept going forward. And then those that got into the drugs, got into fighting, got into a lot of the illegal things. So I have been there.
Do you think
both sides?
Do you think everybody is doing illegal things because they want to?
There are those that are and those that aren't.
Okay. Rico, you wanted to say
some do it because they want to, and some do it because they feel like they have no choice.
Wow. Rico, you wanted to say something?
Well, we do have to make sure we realize that you just can't go out here and fish without a license. You just can't go out here and hunt without a license.
Yeah.
You might end up going to jail for that, and you need to feed your family. And we also need to realize that this society we live in, sometimes, you know how these stores throw food out? They put them in the dumpster, and you have people that dumpster dive. Some of these stores won't even allow you to dumpster dive.
Exactly.
To get the food that they've thrown out, even though it's going to waste and they're going to get rid of it. They don't even want you to come get it and it expired yesterday or maybe earlier today. So some people don't have a choice. They don't know any kind of way. We got to remember, some people don't care what creates the super predator, even though they know that the super predator is created. But what is the super predator? The criminal that needed to survive, but can't survive in this system that has created a condition and an environment that keeps slamming these doors in his face and then tell them, look, we don't even want you diving in our trash can to get nothing to eat. We don't want you fishing and hunting unless you pay us some licenses and fees. They done made us everything. I mean, this ain't just easy survival anymore, even though you might be able to teach a man to fish. Yeah, you can teach him how to fish, he can feed himself. But he better be able to afford the license.
Exactly. And you got to renew that thing every year. Trust me, I'm a fisherman. I'm an angler. I know you got to renew that license every year. If you don't, me and my buddy was out on Lake Lanier a couple of weeks ago, and the game warden came up. He's so nice, so kind, so pleasant. How y'all doing? You know, talking to us. Oh, before I leave, could I see your license? Oh, before I go, do you have the life jackets? You know, he wanted to check everything. And he was so nice. He came up so nice. You thought it was your friend that you knew a long time ago, long lost friend. But he had a job to do. Let me go to Cap, because I'm gonna tell you something. I heard the minister say a couple of years ago. He said you cannot take something away from a man unless you're going to give him something of equal or more value. Now you want this man to get off the corner. What you going to give him that's going to be equal or more value so he can continue the lifestyle that he have or exceed the lifestyle that he had before you took that away from him. Cap, what's on your heart?
Well, you know, Brother Raheem, everybody has to know. We have to ask the question, and we have to be very open and honest. Is this a design plan? You cannot tell me that we are by nature criminals. You just can't tell me that.
Yeah.
What is the plan? How come? Well, if you break up the home, that's where it starts. That's exactly where it starts. We looked at the news yesterday in Chicago, Illinois, probably Willard could tell more about it. The kids was mobbing. I mean, it was mobbing going downtown, according to what the press said. I don't know. But the picture they painted was these kids was out of control. Now look at they interviewed a black woman and she said, what do you think? She said, where the parents? Where the parents of these children? And then when you sit there and you show black kids mobbing like that, man, they call it wilding, and they're going downtown, what do you think is in the mind of the white conservatives or white people in some black middle class? We got to do something. Lock them up. But you're talking about children that don't have nothing in the home. What I mean don't have nothing, there's no justification. Let me, because I don't want Leonard to think I'm trying to justify that because they don't have a single parent, they only have a single parent, that they're supposed to be out there wilding. No, I'm saying, when are we going to fix it? You got to put the home back together. That's where it starts. There's so many men absent in the home. You want to find out where the men gone? They're in the prison. They got to come back on the streets one day, no matter what we think. These men gonna hit the streets one day. What kind of re-entry program do we have for them? My little nephew just got out about 6 months. He already, man, roaming the streets again. Because there's nothing out here for him. If there's nobody out there to catch him, he's gonna fall. He don't have, I don't care what you put him, a juvenile with an adult. A juvenile still have an immature mind. An immature mind. And the juvenile will make immature decisions. I don't care if they do things that adults do, but their minds are still developing. So we got to fix the home. Look, let me say this. If I bought a prison, and I came to you, Raheem, and I said, look at Raheem, look at, man, this is a new thing, man. I'm investing in the prison system for every time we fill a bed, man, we get $250,000. And they give us, the state and the feds will give us $250,000 for every bed that we fill. Get out of here. Well, how are we going to fill? He said, very easy. See, the prison system like the zoo. In order for you to go to the zoo, you got to have animals in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how am I going to get the animals? Go to the hood.
Wow.
Go to the hood. Well, how am I going to get the animals? The same way we catch the animals in the jungle. Take away the lion's ability to feed itself. Take away in his habitat. Take away the food they would naturally hunt. And then now you put the food out there. Now you make him come out when he's a night predator. Now he's a day predator because he's hungry. Because you took away the opportunity for him to have a job. You took away the opportunity for them to have quality education. Then what you do, you put drugs as the way they eat. So you flood the community with drugs. What do you think he's going to do? Think he'll come out of his natural habitat and he's going to jump on the drug. Now you trapped him.
Yeah.
Now you got one. I got a orangutan. Open up the cage. I got a gorilla. Open it up. I got another one. And what does a prison system look like? It look like a zoo. Don't feed the animals. So when you go in there and you got 6-man cells, 7-man, hey, what's up, man? How did he get you? And you fill in the beds. And I'm telling you, and now they're going to get back out. And it's going to be, and if you ain't got nothing for them to do, they're going to, listen, man, these are going to steal or starve. So we got to fix the home. I don't care if it's taking 10 years. If I look at a building that you say, man, Captain, how long will it take us to rehab this building? You know, it's a big, man, shit, it's going to take at least 10 years to rehab this building. But that's what we need to be talking about. I don't care how long it's going to take. But we got to plug that hole. Do you hear me right? We got to plug that hole.
Exactly.
The black man, the black woman got to sit down. We got to talk like men and women. We got to be more responsible as men and take care of our family. We got to plug that hole. And we got to stop saying that the white man is the reason. He ain't the reason no more. Ignorance is the reason. Right here, we got to plug that hole.
Exactly.
When we plug that hole, we stop that pipeline. We stop it. But we can't keep talking about it, man, and we keep leaking. We leaking. Let's plug the hole right here.
Exactly.
And I would just like Cap to know, I do agree with him, but that question that he posed is not a national question.
Which one? Which question?
Very personal issue on who you select to mate with and associate with. That's personal. Get back. See, you used to have religion. Now you don't really have religion like you used to. So now you have to come up with something to replace it. Y'all can do the best you can. But one, the nation don't teach nothing but basically come out of that mentality, come out of that behavior, and live differently. That's a great message. But one, you don't want the state legislating you in a way that makes them your father and your mother or your God. So we have to be very careful about that.
See, but my question was, what does a person do when they did try to do everything they could do to do it the right way, and because of the fact that they keep the door slammed in their face and they look at their little children and daddy, I'm hungry, or daddy is cold and here comes the lights off. My question is, what are they to do?
Like I said, that's a story you like to use
because it happens every day.
People done all this every day. No, they haven't. It
happens every day.
I know people that would rather steal than ask.
So
because they got too much pride to stand in a food line to get the food.
Okay, so we're gonna take that brush and we're gonna paint everybody with that brush. We're not gonna deal with the reality of the situation.
There's a man sitting in there talking to his kids that way neither, because a lot of times he ain't there with his kids. His kids are being taken care of because they stay with their mama through the state.
We tie so many different things together. I'm talking about the situation where the reality is this child is looking up at the dad. That is still in the home.
When we get to those issues, we deal with those issues.
That's why I'm asking a question about that issue. I'm asking a question about that particular issue, brother.
and
I'm
say
asking a
that
question
this
about
is
that.
why
No,
these
no, I'm asking a question about that issue right there. I'm not talking about all this other stuff with him not being in the home. I'm not talking. I'm talking about a specific issue is what I'm asking a question about. Not all these other stuff that we're trying to throw in there. I'm asking about this issue.
the conversation he has with his kids is his business.
Wow.
What he
Wow.
chooses to do is his business.
Okay.
Because when you look at the big picture, we have this huge system called welfare.
Mm.
A lot of people don't have welfare.
That's another alley.
But there are, right, but look how wide that alley is and the funding for that alley and what we've built with this system and how we're taking care of these kids who are in situations who don't even have fathers providing for them.
So the solution is to get on welfare.
Well, that was a great solution because it has kept a lot of kids alive and a lot of people fed.
How long do they stay on welfare?
That's up to them.
See what you just said. Answer that, and we got to move on to somebody else. But what you go, man, you'll play tennis all day long.
No,
but what you just I'm not losing. What you just said was the same thing that you spoke against a few minutes ago about now the welfare has become the mom and the daddy to these children because they are depending on them. You just said you don't want this to become the mama and the daddy, but you want the welfare system to become the mama and the daddy because now instead of relying on this, you want them to rely on the welfare system. So where lies the difference, brother? Where lies the difference?
We were talking about provision. When you're providing for children, it don't matter how the mama and the daddy feel. You're providing for what is needed.
So the welfare is the mom and the daddy now. So the welfare, my point is, you saying the welfare system is the mom and the daddy now.
No, I did not, because it's not the dad, mom, and daddy. That's just what people love to say.
You just said it. You used the example when we were talking about the other situation. You said you didn't want it to become the mom and the daddy. And so when I took what you just said, hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. When I took what you just said and I put it in this situation right here, now all of a sudden it's wrong, is not right,
No, that's the conversation we were having about states' interference in your rights as a human being, and your right to have your own families and to decide how those families are raised.
Okay, gotta keep it moving, brother. Gotta keep it moving. Let me go to Willow. Willow, what's on your heart, sis?
Hey, Raheem. What Cap said. That's what I was gonna tell everybody about what had happened yesterday downtown. I mean, there was so many kids downtown, and they was ages from 12 on up, jumping on people's cars, breaking in their windows, robbing people for no reason. I don't understand why they arrested about 15 of them, they said. But Cap had it right, though, for real, though, Raheem. We got to touch the home because each one of those children had a parent. I don't know if they had parents, but they had a parent. My cousin just say they scared of them. Maybe they is, maybe not. I don't know, but we got to go back to, and I'm always going to say it, go back to the root cause. And that way we could try to reduce some of the behavior, what's going on. Because I felt it when you said something about that young man who didn't know, who was crying, going to be in jail for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't know. Knowledge is the key. We need to make our children aware of those things that are going to happen when they make those kind of choices in life. Are we teaching our children that? You understand what I'm saying right here? Are they aware of that? I don't know how they think the world turns, but it certainly don't turn the way that they're doing it now.
Wow.
And that's what's on my heart right here.
Good deal. Cassandra, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's on your heart, sister?
I don't have the answers. I know that I'm trying to do all I can. I meet with some of the prison reform groups, around Atlanta that are trying to make a difference and trying to come up with solutions. But I know that our children are out of control. I mean, just point blank, bottom line, they are out of control. I live in downtown Atlanta, and there is a spot, an event spot not far from my house, maybe a few blocks from our house. Every weekend, you have
Lord,
literally almost all night long. They're and a couple of them got shot a few weeks ago. And there were police racing around here, and we're a senior building, There's not a whole bunch around us, but stuff around us. But this particular spot, I mean, it's like a war zone. I don't understand. Yeah, you want your kids to be able to enjoy themselves. They can't. Most of the kids I know, they don't even want to go out anywhere because you have that faction that their whole mentality is shoot 'em up, bang, bang, and paying attention to what these, I'm gonna say damn songs are saying. That's exactly what it is. They're paying attention to what these songs are saying, and they're going out here and playing cowboys and I'm not even gonna say Indians. They're going around here playing cowboy and shooting up like they don't have any dang on sense. And something has to be done. I want people, if y'all got ideas, well, how are we going to do this? I know CAP has a group that goes out and reaches out to people, but we're doing, we're meeting, we're trying to figure out what we can do to get some of these kids out of that mentality. But these kids have no conscience. I'm talking when you can shoot. Recently we had, three kids shot, I think, a few weeks ago, shot dead. They picked up 2 girls in the group that's involved in it. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So these kids don't have any conscience. Their conscience is seared. They don't feel anything when they're shooting people. It's like they're shooting a video game. Like the person go get up once you, man, we need to do something.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, give me suggestions because I'm always out there. I'm boots on the ground.
There you go.
Tell me what to do.
Exactly. K with an E. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning? K with an E, you there? She can't find the mute button, y'all. She's looking. It's right there, K.
I'm on mute.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Bless.
I wanted you to listen for a minute so you can get a gist of what we're talking about now that you've heard us on what's on your heart.
Oh, I did hear and I didn't hear. I'm at work. I started a new job.
Oh, okay.
So I've kind of been running around the house, but I heard some of it. I heard what Cassandra just said for sure. I think that was Rico.
Leonard, that was Leonard just now.
Our youngsters, Leonard, our youngsters with this shooting.
We're talking about the penal
It's
system.
horrible.
We talking about and y'all got something going on up there. I think I saw something on the news where y'all got a big protest going on right now, don't you?
It's a lot going on. We just had a 16-year-old get shot by an older white guy in Overland Park. We just had, I'm not telling y'all, we had like 5 shootings within 2 hours of each other.
Wow.
Like 2 blocks from each other. So that's all they just been doing around. They just been shooting, killing, and then you can't even go to funeral. Because you don't know what's going to happen at the funeral, so you can't even go, can't even show your respect. Like, it's crazy. The shooting that happened in Oakland 2 weeks ago on Highway 510, I think, 580, that was my nephew.
Wow.
Yes, that was my nephew. So it's a lot going on. And we know he don't even go out the house after dark, so it was somebody he really trusted.
Wow.
But what do you do about it? I mean, like, they didn't even have a Virgil because they didn't have a little thing they be having because they said the killer gonna be right there with us. Like it's such a private funeral service till I don't even feel safe going, and I'm not going. But it's crazy. You can't go to funerals. You can't do nothing. You can't even walk down the street. We had a young lady went to the store, just got her car looked at by her uncle. Went around the corner to the store to get her a Black and Mild. She don't even live down here in the area, and she ended up shot in her arm.
Wow. It's out of control. It's out of control. Pete,
who controls it?
Exactly. Well,
the parents do. So the young kids take those guns home.
Wow. Pete, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Whew. Chaos everywhere. A multifaceted problem is going to call for multifaceted solutions. So it's at the point where it has to be all hands on deck, and we as a collective, the ethnic representatives of the chaos that's going on with us, we got to take control of it. We got to address it. We have to attack it, assault it, and it has to be an all hands on effort. Everybody that's in position to do something at this point has to do it. It's no more sitting on the sidelines. We need the church and the mosque to be out in the street. We need the fraternal and the professional organizations to engage and be out on the street. You know, the very various community organizations and formations need to be out in the street with engagement in outlets, positive outlets to snatch these children up. We have to get out there with them. Now, it's gone so far until even with our presence as adults and things, you are still going to encounter some you know, guerrilla mentality. Okay, it's just going to come out. But your presence can thwart most to many of the nonsense. Just the fact that you out there and you out there in numbers. If we out there 20, 30, 40, 50 deep everywhere they are, you're going to stop a lot of that nonsense. You may even be able to calm some of the nonsense down. Not that they respect you or, you know, it's your engagement. It's not just telling them what to do, but it's just cordially engaging them and having a presence.
Their presence,
It does work. It does work. It does work. But we're sitting on the sidelines observing this, and we're not actively engaging it. Anytime we got more than 10 or 15 of these young people getting together, there need to be two to five adults that's standing around engaging them. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Where you going? You go to school? You got a job? What you trying to do? Whatever. Have some type of engagement with them and keep it like that. And then outlets, things for them to do. You know, something that's going to engage them in an interest that they have and try to get there, because the situation has been allowed to just go too far. It's been allowed collectively to just go too far.
Exactly.
I'd like to throw something in, please.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Zamar, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Is your heart broken yet? Thinking about these kids?
I'm sad about these kids. I don't listen. Children are like that's my heart, right? Because obviously I have kids. I love my kids, and I wish every child had that same opportunity to grow up feeling safe, to grow up in a household where there's that good foundation for them to grow on. But there are a lot of homes where these kids don't have that, and they're just running wild, and there's no grandparents, there's no aunties, there's no uncles, there's absolutely no neighbors even that want to take the time to pour into these children. And all of the programs that we used to have, you know, you could go to there's not even parks anymore in a lot of areas for kids to play ball in. And if there is, they're in disrepair, where they're so broken down, right? Nobody's fixing them up. Nobody's teaching me. Why don't you create a community garden? Have the kids come out and teach them how to create something, grow something, build something. Use their hands. Teach them something that gives them a sense of purpose. And I promise you, that'll help. Because through that, they'll find connection with people that actually care. But it's really hard now at a certain age. Shoot, even as young as 10 years old now, it's really hard to get these kids to listen and to get to that place where they can understand that somebody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I wish I had a solution too. I think that was Cassandra was saying, if somebody's got ideas, let me know. I wish I did. The only thing that I can think of is like community-based stuff. You know, that's the only thing. Get out, create, even if it's nonsense, complete nonsense, right? But create a local basketball team just for the kids to get together and go play basketball, soccer, tennis, whatever it is that they're interested in. Pass out those flyers, even if it's to the kids themselves.
And I say it all the time, man. A kid don't care about how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And once they realize that you do care, differences will be made. Badger, you wanted to say something?
You know, I said something a while back about this principal that decided to take no pay to make sure the kids in that school district were shown hope and compassion, to show them that someone cared for them. And she made a huge change in that community. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and I'm confused on some things. In the instance that why it's almost sounds like God is being left out of the situation, out of this scenario. Because to me, God always provides a way. There's always a reason. And, looking at the different communities, being a part of so many different communities, working with nonprofits and things like that, there's a lot of things that is out there. And I can't tell you how many times I've received phone calls from people, from parents and single people and stuff that, I'm on my last leg. I need help. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to look or anything. And you can provide them with all that information, help them make the phone calls and stuff. But you can't make them go.
Okay.
So that's why I have the perspectives that I have. Is I've been sleeping under the bridge and still helping people, showing them how to. I've helped families dealing with CPS. I'm very active in the communities, any community I've ever been a part of, constantly helping. And I've seen those that work as harder than I do to provide, to help, to care. But I've also seen those that have been provided everything you could think of, and they turn their nose up because they're too prideful, or they're stuck in trauma brain, or many other different reasons that they are in the situation that they're in. So there is a lot of access to all kinds of things. It takes work to move forward. It's easier to blame other people than it is to move forward. And that's what I feel a lot of our societal problems are, is we are now developed into this blaming everything else and not holding ourselves responsible for moving forward.
See, and my thing is this right here. I'm not even gonna say that you're wrong, but in some people's existence, what you call blame, they call reality. And so we can't misconstrue some people's world. You may call it blame, but they call it their reality, and we can't ignore their reality. Somebody was about to say something.
Yeah, Raheem. I wanted to say this because I think what I'm hearing everybody saying, I think Leonard said something about national. It's not on the national agenda. This problem about youth, and Black youth in particular, is not on the national agenda. If it was on the national agenda, then all these little organizations like my organizations and Cassandra, we could tap ourselves into the national agenda. Individually, we trying to do what we can, man. We trying to bail water out the boat. Captain is in the north side of the boat. I'm bailing with my peacekeepers. The boat keeps sinking, but I'm bailing. I'm just keeping the boat just enough to stay afloat. Sister Cassandra, she got a little kid. She bailing water. We bailing water, but the boat is sinking. And either we're going to come to the point we abandon this system and create a new one, abandon this problem, create a new one, but it's sinking. I would like to see it be saved, but if it took so much water, we like abandoned ship, y'all. And that's how people feel, man. They feel we need abandoned ship. These kids, I heard Sister Samaj, it's cool. It's cool. She had, recreation, basketball. These young people, man, today, they're not what they was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Sports was the thing back in the day. That ain't doing it no more. That's almost obsolete. You want to know who's raising our children? Social media is raising them. We're fighting social media. We're fighting rap music. We're fighting their culture. Their culture is a culture of rebellion. You know why God's not in the equation, Badger? Because they're disappointed with God. When you could go into the black community, Badger, and you could see 4 churches in the same neighborhood, a church on every corner. But when you look at the condition of that community, it ain't done nothing. These young people have lost hope, not in God, but those who come in the name of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're also. They don't want to have nothing to do with religion no more. This the nation, this is the Christians. They tired of people talking God. But look at our condition.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that God got something to do with this. And if God got something, I don't want your God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to rob you and your God. Get out of my face.
Mm-hmm.
These young people, man, need people to sit down and put aside all our religious differences, our racial differences. And as you said, right, stop blaming. But let's come up with a net and don't look for the politicians to do it. Stop looking for politicians to change our reality.
Yeah.
You don't hear about no Koreans voting. When last time you talked about the Asians fight, they got their own reality. They don't need nobody to tell it. You go to Asia Town, go to Chinatown. There ain't no politics there. If it is, you don't know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the politics of America does not affect their way of life. So we're the only people think we can vote our way out this problem. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get behind closed doors and stop putting our business in the street and iron our differences out like grown human beings. And you know what Leonard said? Leonard has an opinion. It makes sense. But put Leonard in the room with 25 other people and they're going to hear him. 25 other brilliant people. They're not going to say, we're going to follow Leonard's idea. Oh, good point, my brother. Good point. Next, my man over here. They're going to say, good point. That's a good point. Every one of us got good points. But we got to begin to understand, yes, we need enough, but we need our leaders, if we got any.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to be politicians. Used to be the preacher was the leader. Now, I ain't hearing the preacher. But if we found a good national leader, will we stand behind him or will we say, hey, man, he's a Muslim? Fair guy. Hey, double crackhead.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's DJ, he's a Christian, man, I'm Muslim.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We put our own foot in our way. There's great human beings on there. They want to solve it. We can solve it. But individually, man, don't give up. Don't no matter what you're doing, don't give up.
Exactly.
Because your little bell in the water out the boat is keeping the boat afloat. So keep belling, y'all.
Keep belling.
Keep belling.
Exactly. Exactly. Toussaint? Toussaint?
But you know I'm struggling with that mute.
I see you over there.
Yeah, you should have seen it. That I can do more with we than I. That's my motto. I don't care if you're trying, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care where you are, where you come from, white, black, purple, you can be polka dot. But if you're trying, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't about me. It's about, we can find the problem, the solution. Your solution and my solution. Together, we might have something.
Yeah.
But see, what we do is, if we can't agree with each other, we discredit each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to discredit nobody. If you have a positive, you put your positive with mine, I know they kind of push each other. But you know we can accomplish something. So one thing we all got, choice. Got that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we make the wrong choices. Sometimes you got to get with people that make wrong choices.
Yeah.
Don't push them to the side. You got to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing about what Samora said, community, garden, help people feed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we are accused of doing too much. Since when? Nothing's being done.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we put our ideas and thoughts together, we may have to throw religion out altogether. You know, you can't omit God because He's in everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to worry about including Him. He's in it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're doing something that's in accordance with His will. He'll put people in the right place at the right time for His glory. You're gonna get that.
Exactly.
But you can't fight it because you can't win. You know what I'm saying? You can't win if you're fighting him. But if you're doing something that he's agreeing with, then the avenue is already set. But you can't do it. You can't do it all by yourself. But you can join in. And just because you don't have the necessary, and I know I'm out of time, beliefs that people have, don't worry about that. That's a waste of time. Don't waste that time.
Yeah.
Don't discredit them. Just let their positive and your positive go in the right direction and say that we can do something.
That's good. Well, we're looking at the clock, man. We actually overtime, but I want to touch a few more people before we get out of here. Let me go to Toya with a T. Toya with a T, what's on your heart, sis? Toya? Okay, Toya might be away. I see her there, but she might be away for a second. Ryan, talk to me.
Oh, we forgot one component that we didn't touch on today, and I know we're out of time, so I'm gonna make it quick. But what about incentivizing crime? Some of these laws around here that they putting in places now, we was talking about tapping them on the hand earlier. Now they're incentivizing crime. So you look at Chicago, there's this big protest about Walmart shutting down its stores. And they're indirectly calling it racism on behalf of Walmart. But those Walmart stores been losing money hand over fist for several years now. And even the CEO came out a while back and said, if the crime and the stealing doesn't stop in my stores, I'm going to have to close them down. And so now they have these laws where, oh, you can go ahead and go in there and steal X amount of dollars, and then we're just going to turn you loose. They're incentivizing crime. Like what happened in Greektown. I don't know if you heard about it, Leonard, over the weekend. Up here in Greektown is where the casino's at. The last couple of years going downtown in Detroit has been a pleasurable experience for most people. But I guess over the weekend, 5 people came out the casino trying to get home, called an Uber, and got shot to death over the weekend. Just getting in the Uber. And it's like, what is going on? Where there's so many layers to all of this stuff as per usual, but incentivizing crime? Like, when did that become something that we should look at? Is that I can steal X amount of dollars and not go to jail? Like, that's not the way that we should go at all.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Toya with a T. I see you came back. Says you with us? Toya, you there? Rico, talk to me. I think we just lost Rico as well. Okay. Let me see. Let's go to Pete.
Rico been gone for a minute, right?
No, he called in on the phone lines. He had called in on the phone.
My bad.
Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
We also, unfortunately, have to accept the reality that the chickens are coming home to roost. A society formed and conducting itself in a systematic way that this republic, this society has. We should not be shocked at what we see.
Preach.
The level of unrighteousness, ungodliness, wickedness, and wrong coming from the top down in the form of trickle-down economics, but trickle-down behavior. We should not be shocked that we're seeing what we're seeing. You can't tell the populace to abide by the law and you break the law. You can't tell the populace to be decent and you're indecent. You can't tell them to be upstanding and righteous and you're downstanding and unrighteous. You can't do that. You can't openly steal from people and call it legal, and then when they take something, you call it stealing. It don't work like that. So what we're seeing is the unraveling of this make-believe double standard foolishness that's been going on for so long. And now how you gonna tell the people they can't steal when the very fiber of the function of this nation is full of theft. America has a stealing culture. Why are you shocked? They steal all the time. The governments, the corporations, the corporate entities that are in place as regulatory agencies and service providers, they steal on a regular basis. They cause unjust injuries on a regular basis. We should not be shocked.
Wow.
So that's what I mean when I say it's a multifaceted problem. And it's going to call for a multifaceted solution. When you look at other cultures that might be singularly ethnic, they have a cultural structure systematically in place to steer and orchestrate the direction of their populace. We're in a melting pot. And what is the culture of America? What is the real culture of this country? Lying, stealing, and killing. That is the culture of this society. So now it's bleeding down to the everyday side, and everybody's up in arms. But is this not what's been going on as a normal function in the society the whole time?
Wow.
I said earlier, if you would convict one person wrongfully and incarcerate them, if you execute one innocent person that didn't do anything, that's a tragedy. If you do two, right, it's a travesty. If it's more than two, it's complete wickedness and wrong. You need to stop because you're executing innocent people. So how much goes on?
Exactly.
Taxing you unjustly, right? Giving you inadequate education, giving you inadequate health care. The food that you eat has so much stuff in it that's banned in other countries that's causing sicknesses and all kind of madness, right? The very structure of the system and function is to tear up families. We don't have a social system. You want to give the people aid, you just feed them for a day. If you're going to give them public assistance, why not give them a piece of property and teach them how to grow food and raise animals so they can take care of themselves?
Exactly.
They can grow that and sell it and make some money and feed themselves. The very structure is in place on purpose, off direct. And then we're wondering why. See, 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't tell the young people that started hip hop the kumbaya, let's go along and get along. That's why hip hop had a edutainment cultural concept to it. Today, they put a gangster element into it and a rogue, just vulgar element to it. And it's just straight up in your face, up front, no holds barred, right? So now that's the mentality. I don't have to tolerate what I don't want to take from you. I will blow your brains out. And now here we come. That's their mentality. You're going to cross me, I'm going to kill you. You're going to disrespect me, I'm going to kill you. You're going to do me wrong, I'm going to kill you. Good Lord. But is that not where we are? But how has the society engineered its citizenry to operate, to think, to conduct themselves, to live? You can't put people in a corner and poke them and stab them and prod them and starve them and think they're not going to come out of there like a rabid bear and attack you.
Exactly. All right, preacher.
This is what we're seeing.
All right, preacher. Now, we got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here, preacher. Now, you're going to wait till the last minute and go into your sermon. Now, how you going to do me like that, preacher? Good word, though. Good word, though. Good word. Leonard, what's on your heart?
I can understand what Pete was saying. Like I'm well read on social engineering and all of that. And from all that research and all that education, it went back to the most simplest of things: personal responsibility and behavior. And if you believe that it's someone else's job to do that, you're gonna fail every time. But see, when people told you don't be sleeping around making babies you can't feed, you told them they was judgmental. Every time somebody told you something that was for your own good, you cast it aside and went the other way. Pete said something very important: steal, kill, destroy. But we've heard them together before. Steal,
kill, and destroy.
And destroy. That's the sign of the enemy.
Yes, sir.
So if you out here practicing that, you're not on my side. You understand that. That's for everybody to hear. Black, Christian, Muslim, or whoever you may be. I don't have that bleeding heart for you, because too many of you have killed too many of my friends and family members for me to sit here and try to make it easier for you to do what you want to do.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Willa.
Hey, Raheem.
What's on your heart, sis? We're going to get it. Go ahead.
I was listening to everybody. Everybody is making such an awesome point. But you know me, I always say we got to go try to get just at the tip of where we need to see some change. Because if we don't, well, you know, it's not really a government issue. It's a God issue. We need to see a change in what's going on in this society. But I'm going to tell you this, Raheem. Right now, it ain't going to get no better.
Yeah.
Because we in those times. We are in those perilous times.
Absolutely.
So get ready. Because the word told you everything is fulfilling itself. I'm telling you, Raheem, it was 84 day before yesterday. Today is snow.
Yeah.
We got snow all over our cars today.
Wow.
So I'm just getting ready. Getting ready to see my maker.
There you go. There you go.
And that's
God's fact.
All right.
There you good deal. Cassandra?
Oh, we're gonna take you to the king, girl.
Yeah.
We're gonna take you to the king.
Cassandra, I want you to do me. I want you to do me two things. One, I want you to say what's on your heart, and then tell us what's going on at 3:00 today.
Okay. So what's on my heart is exactly what Willa said. I'm not shocked. I'm not shaken by what I'm seeing, because it is actually everything that is happening now, from the weather to the behavior of people, is biblically sound. So it's prophetic word coming to pass. So either we gonna get it together, or whatever your belief system is, whatever. I'm just saying for Christians, we know what time it is. Those that are Christians, and even Cap know what time it is. So we gonna either have to make our decision where you want to spend your eternity. It's up to you. It's everybody's choice. But we are definitely living in perilous times. It's everything that the Bible says is being fulfilled in this time to let us know that we're at the end of time.
Absolutely.
So, that's all I want to say on that. But if you did not get to hear the show in its entirety, you can come back at 3:00 on DKMmedia.com. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Home run.
Okay, DKMmedia.com, and you can hear a rebroadcast of this show.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys for checking in with us today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
Raheem.
Let me say it again. Wow.
Raheem.
Are you ready?
I am so ready, Raheem, to receive God's word. Come on, Raheem. Let's go.
Well, Willa, I ain't got nothing but one more thing to say. Only thing I got to say right now is let's go.
Come on, Raheem. Amen. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you for waking us up this morning. Many laid down last night, but for some reason, Lord, you saw mercy and grace, allowed us to get up to commune one to another. Father, we thank you so much for all the things that you do, Lord. Father, we thank you for watching over us through these evil and perilous times, Lord. Father, we love and honor you this morning and glorify you. You said that when we see these things, that your Redeemer is at hand. Father, I thank you for being a Savior. Father, I thank you for being a loving Father, showing me how to forgive and forget. I thank you, Lord, for healing me when I'm sick. I thank you, Lord, for watching over my children when they're not around me, Lord. Father, I thank you, Lord, for touching the seniors, Lord. Strengthen them, Lord. Allowing them to go on in your name. Keeping the wisdom. Showing us how to be the children that you wanted us to be with their wisdom and their experience in life. I thank you for the grandmother. I thank you for the ones that showed the children how to manage their children. I thank you, Lord. I thank you for giving me the time with my loved ones, Lord. I know that I'm on a loner, and I know one day you're going to call us all back home. But I thank you for giving me the opportunity to prepare myself, oh Lord, for that opening day. I thank you, Lord. I thank you, Lord, for allowing me to cast my cares upon you because you care for us. I'm asking you, Lord, to touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Father, I'm thanking you for the morning glow, Lord, in your message. Thank you for Raheem and his family, Lord. Keep him safe. In Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen. It's been a great broadcast, man. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. And I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now, 10:31. Y'all owe me for some more overtime. It's 10:31. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this out of you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you tomorrow morning. God say the same. Give somebody some love and truth. They would appreciate it. And I'm sure that you will as well. Have a great day. God bless.